This is the Big O Show. 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 This is
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right, welcome aboard, folks, on a Tuesday. I'd love to say give you the regular positive because it's just hard to do, obviously, after last night, and tell you it's a beautiful morning, and tell you it's awesome, and you're watching what you watched last night in that Bills-Cincinnati game, and it's just that absolutely heartbreaking to see Damar Hamlin and just the reaction of everything that went on last night. It was surreal. It was just one of those things that you just like, is this really happening? And it's just one of those where this is what we fear in this game. You know, we because it's such a collision sport, and this was a freakish thing that happened too. On top of all of that, it's a cardiac arrest at the precise time that they have that collision, and it hits him in the chest, and and it's right at the peak of that, the heartbeat or whatever they were explaining, and it was just one of those where it's the stuff you can't explain. You know what I'm saying? The stuff you can't explain. That's all. It's really what it is last night, and it's just it rattles you. You know what I'm saying? It rattles you because we talk about these players all the time, and we throw around the money, and then these are the moments that are like, well, this is why they get paid a whole bunch of money, because on that same field, Ryan Shazier was almost he was paralyzed, for a short amount of time, and then he was able to get his legs back, and obviously he's able to live a normal life for the rest of his life, thank the Lord. On that same field, we just saw Tua earlier in the season with the, twisted fingers, and now on that same field, we're watching Damar Hamlin possibly lose his life almost, and right now he's in critical condition. He's intubated. So we're going to find out what happens from here. Obviously, I am not a doctor. Most of you are not doctors, so we really don't know deep down inside what is going on with Damar. All we can do right now is pray for the best. That's all we can do. All we want is Damar Hamlin now to be able to live a normal life. We want him to, somehow or another find a way to recover from this if he can. It would be the best case scenario, overall. But it was just one of those where, man, last night, it was gut-wrenching. It was, it's they cancel, and then you watch some of the coverage, and I don't know how many of you obviously went over to the Heat to watch the Heat, because I was also watching the Heat, and then it just kind of you kind of couldn't get into the Heat nearly as much because you kept thinking about, that story. I don't think we're gonna get Cam Wolf on because they've got him permanently on since 6 a.m. I think he's on like every 20 minutes, and he's there at the hospital. So hopefully we'll get Cam tomorrow, because we were set to get him today. But obviously he's got the priority there with NFL Network. So we'll get his thoughts on that. I have reached out to some other people. I am working on trying to see if I can get some other stuff handled and get you guys a little more insight on it all. But I mean, I don't think anybody can really provide any more insight as it is. Everybody's just pretty much, repeating the same things over and over again. This is something now that's, obviously between the player and his family. And, once we get some kind of real news, then I think we'll all get the news, pretty much at the same time. The people outside standing in the hospital and those of us out here, because eventually they'll just put it out on social media and everybody will get it right away, or there'll be some kind of a press conference or something along those lines. But it was tough to watch last night. It's tough to watch any of these things. Hank Gathers, if you're old enough, that's what this kind of reminds you of. It reminds you of Hank Gathers collapsing right on the basketball court. These things happen, and you just don't know when. We have this saying that, when it's your time, it's your time. When the good Lord calls for you, sometimes there's no explanation. And it could be your time at 15 years old, at 35 years old, at 55 years old, or at 95 years old. And you just never know. And it's just one of those things. And last night was as freakish as it could possibly get. Sad and emotional. I mean, at first when they said, well, they're going to give the players some time off, and the NFL is distancing themselves from Joe Buck's comments, by the way. They're saying they didn't tell the broadcasters that, because Joe Buck said, oh, well, they're going to give them, 5 minutes, I think, to collect themselves to then restart. And I'm thinking, how do you restart this game? This isn't just a normal injury. The normal injury, the guy gives you the thumbs up, guys gather around, they pat him, they talk to him. Okay, his legs in an air cast, his shoulders in a sling, his ankles in a boot or whatever, and they cart him off, and he gives a thumbs up to the crowd and people cheer, and then the gladiators get back on the field and continue the battle. But I mean, that wasn't an injury. That was a collapse. That was like they were scared. You saw their faces. That didn't look like a normal injury. That looked like something that scared the crap out of those people. And so you're going to ask those men to go back out on the field, especially the Bills players? No. Can't do that, because that would only cause more problems, by the way, because guys' heads are not going to be into it. And that would, it just would not have been a good look to even try, to even consider thinking of replaying that game. And I understand that the ramifications from all of this, it causes all kinds of problems, because these two teams are incredibly important to the playoff race, the Super Bowl race, all of that kind of stuff. But at this point, football doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just, there's a man's life on the line right now. That's they're playing a game, and there's a man's life on a line because of a game. And that you just can't, there's no way to move on. So I get all the logistics and the problems that it causes, and I'm sure the NFL owners and all that, they're worried about their cash. So I understand, and the networks are worried about their cash since they pay a lot of money for the rights. And that was a big money event last night. But all of that has to take a back seat now. Doesn't matter how screwed up your schedule gets. Doesn't matter what kind of adjustments you have to make. You have to, for the first time, the NFL has to actually show some compassion for their players. Something that they don't show enough. They try, but they really don't show enough for decades now. Okay? They got a lot of catching up to do to actually treat these people like human beings. And so last night, we put humanity first, which was the right thing to do. We first put humanity. We first pray for Damar Hamlin. We hope for the best. Then we can think about, okay, what do we do after? But the good thing is you focus on Damar, and everybody's powers were focused on Damar. The scene outside the hospital with the Bengals and the Bills fans, that's pretty cool. Look, I like to have fun with the idiot Bills fans that dive on tables and all that stuff. But I got to tell you something. If there's a fan base, okay, that other fan bases should get around and support, it's the Bills. Because their fan base, all it ever does is something happens. Tua talked about his, charity or something. I forgot what it was when he got concussed that the Bills fans donated. So this is the kind of time where everybody's got to respond to them now. You know what I mean? Because they respond that way all the time. And what was it? Damar Hamlin has a toy drive, and he has a GoFundMe page, and he wanted $2,500 for his McKees Rock, Pennsylvania school GoFundMe page. Well, it's got 3.4 million now. So that's the good thing, that people are responding to the Bills and to Damar Hamlin, and we should. Here's where karma needs to, I'm a big fan of good karma and bad karma. And I always feel that if you give good karma out, I try to help out as many people as I can. As always, and people around me, they know how I've been throughout my life, and I've always been a big believer that if you try to spread as much good karma as possible, good karma comes back. And I always believe that if you're a bad karma person, that's going to come in return. Sam Bankman-Fried. You wanted to keep screwing people and all that. Enjoy. And so, that kind of stuff, I'm a big believer of that. And the Bills Mafia has, spread a lot of good karma. Different organizations for different teams, for different players, not only just Bills players, others. And Tua is one of the recipients of it. Well, I'm glad that, people are responding, and Damar Hamlin now will have enough money to provide toys for those kids for years to come. Years and years to come, which is pretty cool. It sucks that he kind of almost has to put his life on the line for it. That part may be a little unacceptable. You know what I mean? So he could bring attention. He couldn't get to $2,500. Now he's at, 3.4 million. That's the twisted part about it. But the good thing is, it's nice to see people respond because the Bills Mafia spreads a lot of good karma. And, they deserve some of it back now. Let's just hope now we complete the picture with Damar making a full recovery. Somehow or another, prayers and faith and hope, and we can put it all together. I know I prayed for the young man last night myself. I'm sure many of you did too. It's just a scary situation, man. But it's nice to see that there's, already some good coming out of it. We need the ultimate prize, which is obviously DeMar to completely recover from this. But tough one, man. Really tough one last night. Now, I don't know. And listen, I don't know how they handle this from here on out. I don't. I have no idea. I was thinking about it a little bit last night. Like, okay, so how do you readjust all of this? Because they all have to play next weekend. So, do you push the entire playoffs and Super Bowl back an entire week? You can't. You can't. Everything's already set in place. People are set to travel to the Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. Some people have a house in Arizona. So it's just, weird. It's tough. So just, I don't know how they make it up. I don't know how how you make the Bills, who are hurting right now for their teammate, their brother, and you're going to ask them to play what? A game in a short amount of time and squeeze it all in? That's going to be tough, man. I don't know. What do you do? A coin toss to determine who the winner is? I don't know what you do. I don't know how you do it, but you have to do something because it's going to settle the home field advantage between the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Bills, because all three of them were alive for home field advantage and for the bye week. It's weird. Remember, the Bengals have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. If they would have beat the Bills, they would have had the tiebreaker over them. And if the Bills lose next week and the Cincinnati Bengals win and the Kansas City Chiefs lose, then Cincinnati gets the number 1 seed. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things, like this is a real cluster, for them. But how do you make it up? Physically, teams are so beaten up at this point in time. And the Bills were in the process. They had already lost a player a couple downs before the Hamlin situation. I mean, this is unprecedented. Somebody was ripping on Twitter. Somebody reached out to me and says, "Oh, why are these people on the air and talking?" I'm like, man, relax. Susie Kolber and Booger and those people, they're filling time. They're employees. They're doing what they're told, and they're doing the best they can in a really difficult situation. Plus, it's not their decision. It's the NFL's decision. It's the team owners' decisions. Those are the people, the networks, the big people are the ones making the decision. Now, commissioner, the team, and the network. Those are the three that are making the decisions. Not Susie Kolber, not some producer at ESPN, not some director at ESPN. Nobody. Those people are just doing what they're told at that moment. This was something that no one can prepare for because it's never happened. Man, I'm 56 years old. I've watched a lot of football in my life. I mean, a lot. Never saw anybody get CPR on the field. Never seen that in my life. That's the first time I've ever seen somebody had to be somebody who died practically on the field and they had to revive them. Never seen that in my life. Scary. And the NFL wasn't prepared. Nobody's prepared for this. ESPN's not prepared for this. The only person you criticize is some of you idiots out there, your friend, Skip Bayless. That's who you criticize. You don't criticize anybody else. You criticize idiots like Skip Bayless. This is the reason why I don't listen or follow him or anything like that. But last night, I'm in the middle of, watching everything on social media, and I run into this tweet. Okay. I run into this tweet and it says, "No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how? This is late in the season. A game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. And obviously, I retweeted it after somebody showed it to me, and I said how some of you support this loser troll is beyond me. And I don't care about his explanation. He does all of this, and I keep telling you all, he does everything out of pure shock. Pure shock. Has nothing to do with substance, has nothing to do. He's a disgrace to our business. But what's so disgraceful is that they pay you to be like that. They want you to be like that on television and on radio. That's what they're asking for. Because that's what brings people, because you become such a magnet, because you're such an asshole. And so people want to hear what the asshole wants to say. So you notice those shock people, they get a lot of people to watch them. A lot of people they troll them. And that was right there. And I don't care what his explanation or apology is, because he's been doing this since he was calling Troy Aikman gay. And, it's the kind of shit that just unacceptable, man. And I don't know why it's tolerated in our business. And I don't know why networks, and I don't know why it's interesting. We've gotten away from sports talk. Not here, not on our show. Our show is hardcore sports talk. That's why we're never going to get the big numbers, because we're not into shock. We're not into clowning around and stupidity and goofing off and all that, because that's what we are. That's what we're doing now. It's stupidity and silliness on the air without really talking about whatever subject that supposedly the show is about. And or shock. Let's just talk about stuff. And what can we say? Debate shows. Okay, somebody's got to take this side. And that's what on those debate shows they're doing. It's not really that they mean it. It's just somebody has to take each side. And then you guys just hook, line, and sinker, and they just take you in. And they take you in. And that's why you guys are constantly telling me, hey, did you see what Skip Bayless? No, I didn't. But last night I had no choice. I ran right into it, because normally I don't watch it. I don't watch it at all. So I never hear it, see it, or whatever. But last night I watched it. I ran into it right there. Right there. And I was like, but this is what you guys feed. You feed people like that. You feed the lazy hosts out there that really aren't there about doing the work, about watching the games, about talking about the games. This is what we empower. We empower these kind of people. And it's a real shame, dude. I mean, I saw that last night and I was just absolutely disgusted. Like there was no thought in my mind about trying to play this game. Once I saw the injury, or I don't even know if we call it an injury, right? It's not an injury. What's it called? It's it's a cardiac arrest. It's not an injury. But once I saw it, I knew it wasn't an injury. In other words, how about that? That's the better way to phrase it. Once I saw it, I could tell it wasn't an injury. I've never seen players so devastated. Why? Because it scared the hell out of them. And you're questioning or wondering if they're going to continue. Why would they not continue? Oh my God, what it's going to affect the season. And F the season, dude. The NFL could have a player die on the field last night. I'm sorry, but that takes precedent over any stinking game whatsoever. And if the networks don't like it, and if some of you out there have plans, well, then you're going to have to adjust them, because I'm sorry. It just. So whatever the NFL does, they're not going to make everybody happy in all of this. but it's something that it's not their fault. It's not the broadcaster's fault. It's not the player's fault. It's not the media's fault. It's not the fans' fault. This is just a tragedy. And it's a tragedy that none of us are prepared for. We're not prepared for it as viewers. The NFL is not prepared for it as a league. And so this is unprecedented. And now what we have to do is just handle it the right way. Not argue about handling it the wrong way. That's not an option. The only option is to respect Damar Hamlin and his family, respect the game, respect the men that are playing this game, and give them the space that they need because they're just like a family, just like any of ours. Those guys live with each other for months, man, and some of them for years because they're back again and back again and back again. And I know this is only a second-year player, but obviously he's got a lot of ties with guys for the last 2 years. So he's got bonds. This is serious, man. This is as emotional as it gets. So we have to do the right thing, and we have to pause. It's the right thing to do last night. It's not about thinking immediately about, well, we've got to make this game up. There's a lot of money on the line. That cannot be the priority right now. Money should never, ever, and unfortunately, we do it too much, that money is the priority over humanity. This is a perfect example of humanity needs to come first. What do we got going on the chat board here? We got a loaded chat board. God, I don't even know where to start. It's just entertainment. I have no problem with Skip, Coward, or Steven. It's not for me, but I see the appeal. I don't see any appeal with any of those three idiots. A month ago, a construction worker died in a 995 crane accident. They stopped the construction that day, then moved on, such as life and death. Yep, it is. It is. Well, the problem is the world is not watching that. And when the world is watching it, it's kind of, there's domestic, Alfredo, there's domestic violence going on every second of every day in this country. Somebody is abusing somebody as we speak. The difference is when you watch it with Ray Rice in a video or Dana White, by the way. Anybody see the Dana White video now that came out? He very casually slaps his wife a couple of times. You could tell that that's not the first time that happened. But anyway, as we digress and talk about scumbags, once you see the video of a woman getting slapped, it's a whole different ballgame. And so that's why. So don't kid yourself, Alfredo. People die every day. They die in car crashes. They die in construction jobs. They die everywhere. That happens but we're not seeing it. We're not watching it. It's a whole different ballgame when it's put on video and the world is watching. And then the shock value comes from that. Because the reality of what could possibly happen then really hits home. So it's a different scenario. Plus, football affects a lot of people's lives immediately, like right there and then. From watching it, to attending it, to covering it, to rooting for it, whatever it is that you're doing, working with it, whatever. It affects so many people. You're comparing apples and oranges. People are dying all the time. Every second, people are dying from all kinds of tragedies. Jeremy Renner just had a snow plowing accident. people aren't talking about it, not like this. It's in the news. I don't know if some of you know about it, but 51-year-old had he's in stable but critical condition, had the operation, and he had like, I think it was like chest and couple of, he has some serious damage, but this happens all the time. Now, if you see it on video, changes everything. And that's the thing about the Damar Hamlin thing. We're watching it on video, just like when we watched Hank Gathers collapse right on the court. It was just something that it was unheard of. And then when you see it, it's different. Eric Spoelstra, by the way, was there that day when Hank Gathers collapsed. So let's see. What else do we have here? Adam Outdoor Bushcraft. Thank you, sir, for the love in the super chat. He says, doctor said impact to your heart area can cause a CR. Yeah. Well, it has to be at the moment of the beat. I forgot how they explain it. When it peaks or something, and then if you get hit right at that moment, it could kind of, take it completely out of whack, and then that's what ended up happening to him, So, what do you got now, Alfredo? Declare it a tie, move on. There's no room to reschedule if you understand the first thing about the overall logistics of scheduling the playoffs. Yes. Okay, we got it, Alfredo. You're a fucking Neanderthal, and we move on. We got you, bro. We got you. AH360. Oh, what are the odds that this makes Tua's family push him to stop playing? 0. They could. Tua's going to play again. Okay? Probably next year, but play again. Yeah. So, it's just one of those deals. What's it called? What else do we have? The big logic. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Big O, I have no confidence in our Finns. Seems like they find different ways to lose each game. Even if GM is close, do we trust Jason Sanders? Oh, even if game is close. No. Jason, why should you have any confidence in the team? Why should you have any confidence in Mike McDaniel right now? Why should you have any confidence right now that your quarterbacks can stay healthy? Why should you have any confidence in anything about the Miami Dolphins? You shouldn't. Only a blind-ass fan has confidence in the Miami Dolphins right now. That's all. So you're a blind-ass fan. You're not using logic. Right? You're convincing yourself of something that doesn't exist. So, Jason, you feel exactly the way you're supposed to feel about the Miami Dolphins. You're supposed to have no confidence. Anybody that just says, oh, I feel great about the Dolphins, I feel like they're going to win, you're just being a fanatic, which has no logic. That's what a fanatic is. A fanatic, you're fanatical. You're not into logic. Any Dolphins fan that goes in with any kind of confidence in the Dolphins is just lying to themselves, is what they're doing. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what fanaticism does. You lie to yourself. You know your team sucks, Now, in this week's case, well, the Jets offense sucks too. But so did the Patriots offense. So there should be no confidence whatsoever in the Miami Dolphins. You feel like you're supposed to feel about the Dolphins. This is what they've earned. No confidence. They're also ran. They're the dregs of the playoffs, if anything. They're a middling team in the NFL. Nothing more, nothing less. It's what they've been pretty much for 25 years. Not good enough to be with the top, but just better than the ultimate scrubs in the NFL. They're stuck in the middle. Okay? Years ago on Twitter, you could go check out my Steeler Wheelers segment there. And, I do my little Michael Madsen impression with a football, not a knife to cut out somebody's ear. And this is what the Dolphins are. We're stuck in the middle. So why the hell should you have any confidence? The only people that have confidence are people that are willing to lie to themselves. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. You're creating confidence is a lie because, I don't know, maybe you feel comfortable lying to yourself. But I am not going to lie to myself. They are what they are. So anyway, Jason Sanders is 3 for 11 in his last 50-plus yard field goals the past 2 seasons. College kickers have better stats from 50. He's got to go. Yeah, no, Jason Sanders is done. He's history. He's his confidence is shot. He doesn't deserve to be a part of the Miami Dolphins anymore. You need to get rid of him already. He needs to go somewhere else. And if somebody wants to give him a chance, go for it. But the Dolphins need to go find somebody else. Big O, what a fool believes is a Miami Dolphins fan. Yes, sir. The Doobie Brothers made that theme song for Miami Dolphin fans years ago. And they said, look, this song, we're going to make a hit now. But we want this to be the Dolphins song in the 2000s. And they were right. They were right. Cap for Life says, I'm masochistic, so I have an excuse. Oh, do you think Ross will go after Jim Harbaugh if we lose on Sunday? I hope not. That's all I can tell you. I hope not. Listen, I don't put anything past Ross anymore. I don't know what he's going to do. I really wouldn't make any changes. I'd kind of bring everybody back again. But I would not be surprised if he brings Jim Harbaugh, if he tries to, I don't know, bring Vince Lombardi back from the dead. I can see him doing any possible crazy-ass thing in the world because that's what he does. I could see him firing Tom Garfinkel, Greer, and McDaniel, and cut to him. That guy would do anything. Anything is possible with Stephen Ross. So I have no idea what Stephen Ross is going to do. And if any of you do, then, please give me the lotto numbers also. Because I can't predict what that guy's going to do. But if he does go for Harbaugh, all I can tell you is Dolphins are screwed. That's all. Big O, you stated yesterday that there is some dark jinx for the Fins. Well, last night, icing on the cake, we needed the Bills to win, and that happens. Come on, man. Come on, man. Really? You're going to use a tragedy for your little Dolphin joke that, we're having fun with. Come on, man. I don't think you want to use the Hamlin, injury for a joke, my man. Chase says, this year's over for us, but we only need a few changes to make us an elite team next year. Patch up a few positions on defense with better injury luck this year, a 12-win team. I know. That's why I really wouldn't change much. Just hope that the coach learns. I don't know about the quarterback. I know he can play. I'm not sure he can learn. I'm really not sure that Tua Tagovailoa can actually learn how to get rid of the football on a consistent basis. He might do it a couple games, but then he'll go back to his bad habits. And he was already doing it in that game multiple times. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Kevin says, Big O, do you like PFF grades? They grade Jerome Baker as very high. Thoughts? I'm not a PFF guy. Never have been. If you've listened to this show, I think PFF is garbage. Okay, we clear on that? PFF's rankings don't take into effect the guy you're facing might be a backup, the guy you're facing might be injured, the situation in each down may not have been where you were the primary guy to be blocked or something, or somebody made a mistake and it freed you up and you got a cheap sack, and it goes for your stats. But if you looked at the play, it wasn't that the person made a great play, it's that they made a mistake. There's a lot of things that go on that I don't believe PFF takes into account on every single down. And so to me, PFF grading is very, very inaccurate, and it's not something that really gives you a clear-cut picture of what each player is to each team. Okay? Hey, look, that a lot of you brag about, oh, well, Flo won 7 in a row at the end of the season. Yeah, he beat all the scrubs, but he couldn't beat all the good teams. That was the problem. And people conveniently forget that. And so so you pick up a bunch of stats, and so now your stats are getting better against bad teams. But then what happened against the good teams? So you can't rate the work that this right tackle does or this right defensive end does if they're playing a lesser team or a better team or a lesser tackle or a better tackle or a lesser defensive end or a better defensive end. So if the left tackle doesn't allow a sack, but 2/3 of the game he faced a second and third string defensive end because of injuries, does it take it into account? Does it put his grading on a curve? No, it doesn't. The Jets were picking up a whole bunch of wins early on. Why? Because they were facing backup quarterbacks every time. And since they have a top 10 defense, they took advantage of it. And that's how they were able to add some extra victories onto their schedule. And the Dolphins have done that at times over the years, where they pile on the record a little bit because they're playing the lesser teams. PFF for me is a bunch of hot air. Okay? Because they don't know the play called. They don't know the responsibilities on each play. They don't know the mistakes that were made on each play. They don't know the starters or backups or third stringers that were in that play to cause more problems or make a difference. And all that kind of stuff needs to be kind of weighed out, and it's not. So to me, that PFF is fool's gold for people that lean on. We have way too many writers that use that as their Bible. Why? Because they're too lazy to actually watch the games. That's kind of my thing on the show, if you've noticed. Watch the games. It's something I picked up from Ed Kaplan many years ago, and he talked about it, and he was right then, and he's still right now. We have too many talk show hosts that just open up a newspaper. Well, now they don't even open up the newspaper, but they go online, and then they read what went on and then go off of that. And then why? Because they didn't watch it themselves. So that's my problem a lot of times with all of this. They don't really watch what the hell's going on. So, and when you see a writer, by the way, that is constantly using PFF as their, talking point and backing up everything, I can already tell you that that's a writer that I will not be reading much of already, because now I know you're not really using your own opinions. You're not really watching. You're going off of the stats of, some service. So that's how I feel about PFF. I think it's a waste. Let's see. What do we have here? Rosendo, we got hit by the injury bug this year. I don't wish this on any team. This year was like watching a car accident in slow motion. I think I need therapy after this season. Don't we need therapy after the last 25 years? Canes 954 says Jets, Titans, and Seahawks collapse, but I don't hear any talk of them cleaning house. Take out the emotion. We need consistency and build on what we have. Need luck, man. Also, need luck. I need McDaniel to improve as a play caller. I need Tua to learn how to get rid of the football. And then I just need luck from the injuries. Just a little luck, man. I know you're going to have some injuries, but Jesus Christ. And please, can we stop having a player that doesn't want to report? Like Will Fuller last year, and now Byron Jones this year? Like, seriously. Come on, man. That shit can't keep happening either. When Tua beat bad teams, this clown thinks he's elite. When Flores beat bad teams, he discredits him. Funny how that works. Yeah, you mean like Baltimore and Buffalo? Bad teams like that? Are those bad teams? Baltimore and Buffalo? Those are pretty damn good teams in the stretch run too that they beat. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Brad, remember, you're the one watching this clown. I'm not watching you. I'm not on your channel. I'm not on your social media handle. I'm not on your timeline. You're here watching me. Okay? Remember that. You're watching me. You're reacting to me. You. I didn't ask you. I didn't put a gun to your head. You're here. Think about that. We need to replace Byron Jones. X needs to take a pay cut on his horrible play this season. X ain't going to take a pay cut because he knows that he's got them by the you-know-what, and they know they're not, and he knows they're not going to cut him this year because then that would be way too many cap hits in one season. So he knows, and his agent knows, they're going to cut Byron Jones this year, and they'll cut him next year. He knows what's coming. What X has to do is get in really good shape this offseason, come back next year with a hell of a season because he's going to get cut. And because he's going to get cut, he needs to perform at a high level next year. So you will have a very motivated X, I believe, next year. Okay? Not that he wasn't motivated this year, because I got to give X overall some credit. He played pretty hard considering he clearly is not himself. Because there's no way in the world X wants to be embarrassed. Okay? That's a prideful dude. I can disagree with, some of the crap that's gone on off the field with him. I can disagree with maybe hanging on to him too long. I can disagree with, his injury history and, the baggage that comes with X. But I'm not going to disagree with the player he is. And I give him a lot of credit for staying on the field, considering he's obviously not himself. I mean, you can tell he's not himself. But there's no way that dude's going to half-ass it to look like a dick out there. Okay, that's not X. That's not the dude that I've seen. That dude is a competitor, but he can compete at a high level right now. But they know where they stand. They know what's going on this team. He's got a really good agent in David Canner. David knows his stuff, dude. Okay, David's a really, really good agent. Okay, I know him personally. He's a really good dude, too, on top of all of that. But he knows where they stand. He knows it's next year that they got to hang on to him one more year. They have no choice. So X will have another year to kind of get healthy, get back on track, and play at a high level to then hope for some kind of negotiation to stay on the team, or they probably will cut him. But you will get a motivated X next year. Not because he wasn't motivated this year. Again, I'm saying motivated because he really needs to he has to have a great year next year if he wants to continue his career and maybe earn, big time money or earn more money from someone else. Let's see. You're right about that. He has gutted it out this season with no excuses, unlike Byron. Yeah, I mean, I got to respect that with X. And you're not yourself, and you know you're not yourself, and you can't stay with people like normal. That's got to be tough for him, man. When an elite athlete cannot be elite, that's got to be super frustrating for them. That there's something in their engine, in their body, that's not allowing them to be elite. Do you know how much that must have pissed off X this year? That would piss off any great player. You know, I can't be myself. It's got to be frustrating as hell. Look at, I'll go the other way. Look at Celine Dion. She's got a condition now that doesn't allow her to sing like she normally can sing. She can't restart her tour. She can't do the thing she loves the most. What she is elite at, her voice, because of a condition that she now has. It's athlete, singer, professional, it doesn't matter. When something out of your control stops you from doing what you do at a high level, you know, Linda Ronstadt also, she I think it's Parkinson's, I believe, or maybe it's another condition that she has, one of the most magical voices in the history of music, and she can't sing like she used to. So when things are out of your control like X, he's got either the growing injuries. If it's one or two, I can't imagine how that feels for him, because it's not like he's too old to play at a high level. No, he's just injured. And yet he stays on the field, sells out his body. That part, I got to tell you, I got to respect that from X. I got to respect that. And you should too. It sucks that he hasn't played well, but at least he hasn't given up, man. Brett Dodger, Big O, just once, I'd like to see the Finns actually preserve our 3 timeouts for each half, which can help immensely at the time we burn them every game. Mike McDaniel, my brother. Players are out of position. They're making mistakes. They're not as prepared. Mike McDaniel, as I've been saying the last couple of weeks, he's young. He's got to learn. I know some of you already like fire him and all that. I'm not about that. Cam Cameron, I wanted to fire in the first year, but I haven't felt like that about no coach, actually, for the Dolphins. I've never really felt that way about a coach in the first year, except for Cam Cameron, because that was like completely lost. At least here, I've seen a lot of good with McDaniel. I like him personally. I like his personality. I think it works well with today's players. But in game day stuff, he needs to get better at. He has to. True Fin fan, thank you for the love in the super chat. Is it true Armando Salguero reported that McDaniel's not safe? Man, I'm just disgusted right now. Injuries have killed us. My Dolphins kill me. Yeah, I saw that report. I don't believe that report. I like Armando. Does an excellent job over the years. I disagree. Obviously, any of the assistants, sure, you can talk about that one if you want. The special teams coach, the defensive coordinator. I wouldn't fire the defensive coordinator personally, but I could see coordinators being, I know he mentioned it, and then he mentioned even McDaniel could be in hot water and all that. I don't believe he is. I don't believe that at all. So I think McDaniel 100% is back next year. Okay? Now, Stephen Ross is capable of doing anything whatsoever. But I don't believe that Mike McDaniel should be on the hot seat. I think he's done enough good to say, this isn't Cam Cameron. This guy knows his offense, man. This is his first time running the entire show. And you're going to live and learn, ladies and gentlemen. And let's be a little bit patient with the man. You know, I know it's hard to be patient as a Dolphins fan, but I don't believe so. True Fin fan again with another super chat. Thank you. He says, at least I have you, Biggie. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Let's see. Cap for Life, greater good. Okay, and it's for greater good. Justin Floyd, Mike McDaniel had us playing at a Super Bowl caliber level, but he flattened out bad. He needs a senior coach to help him out. No, he just needs experience, man. He just needs experience. John says, amen, Big O. I went from being able to do anything and everything. Now I'm a shell of myself due to bone disease. It's very sad and very depressing. See what I mean? I'm sorry about that, John. It's got to be the worst feeling in the world to not be able to do something that you love to do because of something that's completely out of your control. That's got to be devastating. I don't wish it on anybody, and I don't care what we're talking about. Because whatever we do, you could be William and Mike over at Cutter's Edge Pro. You excel at landscaping. You excel at designing people's homes and making them look, just taking it to another level, right? And what if you can't do that anymore? That would be devastating to guys like Will and Mike. Eric from EJD Construction. That's got to be one of the most satisfying things in the world. When you walk into somebody's home, it's destroyed, it's been on a fire, it needs all kinds of repair, and then you start the work and you see the before and after. You're like an artist. Imagine if you can't do that anymore. You go to Sports Grill. The owners of Sports Grill, they started with one Sports Grill, they now have 8. Can you imagine if they couldn't run that anymore and bring the happiness they bring to a lot of people like myself that loves to go get some special grilled wings? I don't care what it is you do in life, man. Everybody finds, well, not everybody, but a lot of us find our niche. And whether you love sewing and you love crafting and you love creating clothes and all that for people, then that's your passion. God bless you, man. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. We all find our passions in life. And then if you can't do what you're passionate, I don't care if it's, a hobby you love to do. And now you can't do that hobby. You can't play pickleball anymore. You can't do whatever it is. It's got to be devastating. And to me, that's one of the, that's one of the most devastating things emotionally, I think, for any human being. That you finally find something that you love to do and it's taken away from you. Yeah, not good. Not good, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. What else do we have on the chat board here? I don't think I missed any of the super chats, right? I think I got them all there. Remember, you can also send it in through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. And on Venmo, Steve M says, I see a lot of people saying football in the season doesn't matter right now, but neither team is out there offering to take the loss so everyone can completely focus on the player. Yeah, listen, right now, it's not, nobody's talking about anything right now, Steve. You know why? It's not the time. It's not the time for the Bills or the Bengals to talk about, hey, when do we reschedule this? Right now, we don't even know what's going on with the player. So let's first find out what's going on with DeMar over the next 24, 48 hours. I think it's really important for his teammates to find out his status physically so they can have some kind of closure one way or the other. And then, because right now we're all in the dark. We don't know how to feel about this because we don't know if the man is going to recover or we're going to lose him. Because that's the sad part about all of this. You're all playing a game. We're all watching a game. You're gambling on a game. You're talking about a game. And now there's a man dying. And he almost died right on the field last night. So that's got to be the priority right now. And that's really the important part right now. Let's just focus on DeMar Hamlin. Let's find a way to make it as easy as possible for the Bills players, for Hamlin's family, for the league, for the Bengals, for everybody. There's no need to fight about this. There's no need to demand this or that. Right now, it's about coming together and supporting. That's all it is right now. Let's just come together as a football community and support the young man. That's it. That's all we can do. You know what I'm saying? And it's the right thing to do. What else do we have going on? By the way, Heat last night, they did have a third quarter against the Clippers, 34-14. That was scary. But in the fourth quarter, the good thing about that third quarter was the comeback was just good enough to like take a 1 or 2 point lead right there. It was, no big deal. So the Heat pulled away in the fourth, 110-100. Again, Bam Adebayo, 31 points, 37 minutes. I'm really proud of Bam. 13 rebounds, a block. Tyler played 39 minutes, came up with 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. Butler only scored 9 points in 32 minutes, and Lowry was completely useless. And, it's kind of what I was telling Ira yesterday, that if Jimmy is, and I think he's smart enough because he has shown us he's super selfless, he will accommodate these guys. And it's time for Bam and Tyler to take, front and center, and for Jimmy to kind of compliment them. So when there's a tough basket needed, somebody to be defended, help facilitate, Jimmy's there. Lowry, I mean, you can't count on him to help you scoring night in and night out, but he can at least run the defense and facilitate, and until you can dump his sorry-ass salary. But by the way, Oladipo, 30 minutes. I look at that every night. I like it. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Good stat line for him. And Strus is coming around. That's really important now that we're seeing better and better games from Strus here the last couple. So I like it. O is going Al Pacino. I don't know what that means. What does that? What does Al Pacino mean? I don't know what it means. I'm going Al Pacino. I got a day's growth. Did Al Pacino wear a Marlins 305 hat? I don't know. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that one. Went over my head. Big O, would you rather have Brady for one season to see what he can do? I'm good. I'll pass on Brady. Pickleball is miniature tennis with plastic balls and paddles. And it's very popular, Eric. It has exploded all over the country. And we've got professional leagues developing. LeBron bought one. So, whatever you want to call it, my man, it's very popular. And people love playing it and watching it and all that kind of stuff. Big O, do you think the Heat trade Lowry if they can get a good deal? Hell yeah. You dump his ass. For sure. They already made the stupid mistake thanks to Jimmy Butler. And if Butler gets mad, too bad, dude. You screwed yourself and the team by wanting Lowry here. And sadly, the Heat bought your shit and they brought him here. The Kyle Lowry signing has been an outright disaster. It's one of the worst salaries that the Miami Heat have ever handed out. They don't hand out a ton of bad salaries. They don't make a ton of bad mistakes. They make their mistakes because they're human beings. But that's a bad freaking salary, dude. Oh, terrible, terrible, terrible move. I hated that move from the get-go. I've never liked that Kyle Lowry move. I'm not big on signing old players, man. Big O barely covers the Marlins or the Panthers. I don't think you'll get an answer about Segura. I don't know what you guys asked me. Brother, there's hundreds of questions. Do you think I'm going to be able to catch everything that's on the chat board? So I have no idea. What did Segura ask? Is it Segura? I don't know. What are we talking about here? Well, what's the question? I don't know what the question is. You guys think I'm going to catch everything here? I don't know what the question is, so you got to ask it. But I could give you an overall. Oh, by the way, what is there to talk about the Marlins? I love that one. This is great. This is fantastic. You don't talk about the Marlins or the Panthers, okay? What the hell is there to talk about? And who gives a shit? That's the part I love. So I'm supposed to talk about something that nobody cares about? That's fantastic. Yes, Sean.
I went back through the questions in the chat. I found one. It says from Brian Looper, Big O, excited about John Sakura for the Marlins?
Oh, Gene Sakura. Oh, dude. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I know we covered that on Thursday when they signed it. After they signed
him. When they signed them. Yeah. Gene Segura, yes. Okay, now I know what the hell
I like John better. Let's just call him John Segura.
Yeah, you guys are tripping me out here, man. Listen, I'm going to watch the Marlins and cheer on the Marlins. I love the Marlins no matter what. They suck. I love watching Jazz Chisholm play. I love watching Sandy pitch every 5 days. They suck. They're useless. They spend no money. They're not trying to win. And the Panthers are a disaster. What is there to talk about with the Panthers? I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Do you know why we had Panthers insiders on every week last year? Now, we don't have a sponsor this year for it. And if somebody wants to step up, we'll do it. But what is there to talk about except depression with the Panthers? They suck. They're 2 games under 500. Aaron Ekblad is a sack of injuries on a consistent basis. Bob is a disaster of a signing. And the young kid can't even come through either. I watch it. What is there to talk about? Nobody wants to talk about the Panthers, unfortunately. Do you know why? They give you nothing to talk about. And the Marlins, oh my God, what is there to talk about? What is there to talk about Loserville? That's what I love idiots like that guy. I forgot his name already. Well, he never talks about the Marlins and the Panthers. Well, why would I? Plus, we're not in baseball season. And even if we were, they do nothing in baseball season. What do you want me to do? We'll talk about what people actually care about. Whether they win or they lose, they care about the Dolphins. Whether they win or lose, they care about the Heat. Whether they win or lose, they care about the Canes. No one else has earned that right in town. So maybe the Marlins, the Panthers, and Inter Miami can get to the point where people actually give a shit. But in general, nobody gives a shit about the Panthers, about the Inter Miami squad, and about the Marlins. Can we be honest? Just because I love Inter Miami and watch all the games, just because I love the Marlins and buy their stuff and all that stuff, doesn't matter. I love the Panthers to hell. Talk about the Panthers all the time, but there's nothing to talk about with them. All there is to do is complain about how much of a disappointment the Panthers are. And guess what? I'm kind of tired of talking about what a disappointment the Panthers and the Marlins are. And the Marlins don't even try, at least. At least the Panthers try. They just can't get it right. But there's nothing to talk about at all with any of those clubs. They bring nothing to the table. Ray says Marlins don't even deserve to be talked about. Brother, they don't even deserve that I wear this hat to promote them. Okay? They don't deserve that I have my conine here in my studio. Where's my Marlins bell? It's back there. I don't even, you can't even see the Marlins bell anymore. Well, we got it all here, man. We're all Miami, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to talk Marlins and I'm going to talk Gene Segura. Like, what am I going to insult your intelligence? Or apparently lack thereof for some of you out there. Hey, why don't you talk Marlins and Panthers? Yeah, that's really going to drive a lot of listeners, boy. Oh, I'm pissed. When do you ever talk about the vibrant double Dutch jumpers in Florida? I know, huh? The double Dutch bus coming down the street, moving pretty fast, so better shuffle your feet. Get on the bus, pay your fare, and tell the driver that you're going to a double Dutch affair. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I'll be done. Here we come. All right, here we go. Big O, you are having a good day, brother. No, actually, not really a good day. This is one of those talk shows that you don't really look forward to. I got to tell you. Yet we have a Cy Young Award winner, and nobody knows. It's like a tree falling in the middle of the forest, and nobody even knows that it actually happens. Jesse Johnson says, good morning, Big O. Do you think the Miami Dolphins have a chance to make the playoffs? And if they make it, do you think they have a good season? No, their season is already a failure. Mike McDaniel has failed. And the only reason they've got a shot in the playoffs, it's because the conference sucks. So the back end of the conference is so bad. The teams that are in the 6 and 7 spots really don't deserve to be in the playoffs. But the NFL wants to make money, so they will include middling teams to make it in the playoffs. So even if they win this week, it doesn't really impress me whatsoever that you got to 9 wins after they gave you everything you needed on offense to fix it. This was a 9 or 10 win team with a guy that can't fix an offense. So now you got an offense and you can't win more than 10 games? And you should have won more than 10 games because there's a lot of games that were very winnable, but your offense continually failed. The offense that you put all that money and all those coaches into failed. Yeah, no. This is an absolute failed season for Mike McDaniel. Okay? Mediocre first year for Mike McDaniel. So he's got a lot to work on in the offseason. And most of it is game day. It's not about relations with players. It's not about, well, maybe some of the preparation because players seem to be unprepared at times or making too many mistakes. But you gotta, most of it is game day. So no, this is a failed season already. I don't care if you make the playoffs. I mean, they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. Come on. You know, let's not get ridiculous now. Big O, I have more faith in Mike White beating us than Skyler beating the Jets. I disagree with you. I have no faith in Mike White. That comes from this bullshit here that he's from Miami, Pembroke Pines, and that silliness that some of you have out there. And I don't know what it is. It's just like this, you know, when we say jingoistic, you know, it's an American thing. I don't know how we could call it here. I don't know what we call it, a South Florida-istic or South Florida-ism or something. But so many of you get blinded because somebody's from here. And so you make them out to be better than what they really are, you know? And I would imagine that happens in most hometowns that somebody comes from and they make them better than what they really are. And Mike White is probably a terrific young man, but as an NFL quarterback, he is as a jag as it gets. He is zero threat to anything. Okay? That's all. Does he have a little more experience than Mike White, than Skylar Thompson? Of course. That's where it ends. It's up to McDaniel and it's up to Skylar to play better and get it done. But Miami can win that game. It ain't because Mike White is Anything special, please. Juice F5, thank you for the love in the super chat. MLB and Marlins would sell out if they let one fan per inning, any position of their liking via random drawing. Agree? I think it's genius. Fan gets to play a position. Oh, man, that's awesome. That would be funny. They would probably charge the fan just because they need the money. And let me tell you something. Bruce Sherman, Jeffrey Loria, you knew was an asshole. You knew was a bad dude, right? Bruce Sherman looks like a nice guy. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the money. And this was my problem when they took over. I remember I got into discussions and arguments with different people that were trying to defend it. And I said, when you have 15, 16 owners in one group, you don't have an owner. And that's the problem. It's Bruce and 15 other guys. I'm sorry, there isn't enough money then. As I've said, I want one man, one woman, or one family owning the team. That's it. No more, no less. That's when I know the team has pockets. Okay? You need a filthy rich person, a filthy rich family that can use it as a toy, okay, as a hobby. That they don't care if they break even or maybe even lose a little money if they had to lose a little money. And in football, it's hard to lose money because you have so many revenue streams. But when you're stuck with owners like they have with the Chargers, like they have with the Raiders, like they have with the Bengals, like they have with the Marlins, like they have with the Rays, like they have with the A's, it's just going to be impossible for you to compete. Because you're not going to have the deep pocket owners. They're not going to be able to put $50, $100, $200 million on the side in escrow to give up big signing bonuses. That's what Cleveland had to do. In order to give that guaranteed contract to Scrub Watson, they had to actually put the $200 million in escrow. So you got to have that. You got to have that liquid. When Mike Brown has to pay Joe Burrow, oh my God. They got to win a Super Bowl before they got to pay Joe Burrow. Because Mike Brown spent some money this offseason, which was pretty amazing. Kudos to him, okay? And I know they lost Leo Collins, and their line has played well. It didn't, I don't know what would have happened last night if we would have kept the whole game going, but Cincinnati was looking pretty good. They have to win big because I believe their financial problems will continue and will rear its ugly head once you have to pay Joe Burrow, because you're going to have to guarantee him so much money that you're going to have to put that in escrow. And once Mike Brown has to do that, it's going to limit what he puts around Joe Burrow. And life is going to be tough for Joe Burrow. So this is smart that they're spending their money now, because once they got to pay Joe, it's going to be a whole different ballgame, I believe, in Cincinnati. But that's what happens when you have these kind of owners, that they don't have the pockets. And this guy doesn't have the pockets. Well, any chance we bring in Henny and Tannehill to back up Tua next year? Why not? Why not? Definitely. Let's ask for Matt Moore to come out of retirement too. If Tua doesn't work out and bringing in someone for one season and draft a QB in 2024, someone that Mike McDaniel can draft himself. Yeah, that's probably what will happen. It just sucks that Tua can play, and yet it's all about, injuries. By the way, I told you about Sports Grill. They got 8 great locations. The Doral location is open. It's Tuesday. $2 tacos. You can choose from chicken, beef, or fish. $1.50 Bud Light drafts and bottles during the NCAA and NFL games. So while the bowl games are going on, and we got the championship game going on next Monday, or the NFL games, You could get $1.50 Bud Light drafts and bottles. New cocktails also $5 during the NCAA and NFL games. Cherry lemonade and tailgate tea. $12 domestic pitchers. Bone-in wings, 15% off. Check it out. 8 great locations. And the newest one in Doral is open. Go to sportsgrill.com and find the location here in South Florida near you. What else do we have? Shoboy Kane. Off topic, Big O. But do you agree with the off-season trade the Florida Panthers made? Doesn't seem like it's paying off. They seem to have gotten worse. Look, I'm not smart enough when it comes to hockey. Okay? So I'm kind of a casual fan. It seems to me like they made too many drastic changes and threw everything off kilter. What I think they had to do was tweak what they had, even with the coach, and figure out the defense, get that better, but not change the offense. And I think they've gone to such a drastic change that it's thrown everything off. And it just doesn't look like the team. And Bob has gotten another year older. And then, unfortunately, the young kid, he ain't showing you anything, dude. It's bad. It's bad. It's really disturbing to see what's happened to the Panthers. And for Christ's sake, Aaron Ekblad, poor guy, dude. He's the Tua Tagovailoa of hockey. Unfortunately, man. Unreliable. Aaron Berg says, damn y'all, it's season 1 of a new coach, new scheme. Did you think it was all going to fall in place in one season? Then injuries and holdouts give it a chance. Aaron, they have no patience, bro. Dolphin fans have suffered a long, long time, my friends. So they have no patience. By the way, I haven't taken a break yet. Let me take a 2-minute break. Rusty throat. We've got Sean Stanley driving the platform as always. Give us 2 minutes. Back with more right here on the Big O Radio Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right. We're back. Appreciate all of you out there hanging in with us. On Venmo, by the way, and remember Cash App or Venmo if you want to send in your questions, comments, insults, all kinds of good stuff. Chase Barrett. He says injuries exist, but there's too many issues with Boyer. No creative stunts on DL. Not enough pressure, sacks with the guys we have. Scheme is relying on two elite corners. The blitzes are obvious. Giving up constant third and longs can't happen no matter personnel. D ranks 27. See, Chase, the part that makes zero sense about what you said, here's the part that matters. That is absolutely hilarious. Can happen no matter personnel. Really? So you expect Kader Kohou to play at the level of Byron Jones? And he's done a terrific job as a young corner out of Division II, but how much more do you want from him? So you expect anybody that replaces Brandon Jones to play like Brandon Jones? And if X can't play like himself, how do you expect a backup to play like him? And what is the defensive coordinator supposed to do if Raekwon Davis has continued to be inconsistent and unreliable, by the way, down in and down out? The only guys playing at an elite level is Wilkins, Phillips, Sealer, and Holland. Elite level. Kohou helping you out. That's it. The other six guys are a liability on defense. What do you mean it doesn't matter the talent? You're on your like fourth string corners. You're signing guys off the street. You're going to give up all kinds of yards and plays. Go look at the league. Most teams are giving up. Not everybody is San Francisco. In fact, most everybody else is more like, Miami or other teams that just, you give up hundreds of yards and you give up a whole bunch of points in this league. So that's the problem with some of you, like Chase. You set unrealistic expectations, and when they don't meet your unrealistic expectations because you say doesn't matter the talent. Well, of course the talent matters. Did you watch Miami's offense last year and watch Miami's offense this year? Oh, wait a minute. What's the difference? Oh, talent. You mean there was no Armstead last year? There was no Connor Williams last year? Hell, Robert Jones wasn't playing at this level last year. Brandon Shell or Jesse Davis? Tyreek Hill or whatever was opposite of Waddle? Devontae Parker? Come on, man. What do you mean talent doesn't matter? Of course talent matters. So I disagree with you 1,000%, Chase. I just think that most of you that want to blame the defense, you're reaching. You're reaching. It's a bad defense. They're not supposed to be good at this point. And they were built to play one way. And with all the injuries, you have decimated it, and they're not good enough to play man-on-man or zone right now because they don't have the talent. And where's it Boyer's fault that Bradley Chubb with the club doesn't do anything? And I can't blame Boyer that X is running around with one or two groins that are screwed up. Couldn't even play this week. And yet, they only allowed 16 points. Agba got his money, did not show up. You know, I can't do anything about that, and neither can Boyer. It's not like he's not trying. Wilkins is playing great under him. Phillips playing great under him. Sealer plays great under him. Holland's playing terrific under him. Kohu has been a really nice surprise and addition, and he found him and developed him. So if he can find and develop a corner, well, what's the other excuse for all the other guys? It can't be that he can't develop you because he can develop Kohu. Brandon Jones was developing fine under Boyer. He was becoming a better cover guy this year. You guys, you can't have it both ways. Okay? You can't have it both ways. There are players that are playing well under him, and then the other guys, there are reasons why they're not playing well under him. But I don't believe it's his fault. I believe he's been handed a really bad deck of cards, and he's had the worst luck this year with injuries also. And it changed everything about his team. But, so, I appreciate the Venmo, but Chase, you and I are going to disagree wholeheartedly on this one. Dolphin Mark, Big O, I think the NFL should award the Bills-Bengals game a tie, the only sensible and humane solution to seemingly unsolvable tragic situation. That could happen. I don't know if they'll do a coin toss to determine a winner, and I have no idea. I have no idea how they're going to do this. It's unprecedented. So whatever happens, it's nobody's fault. They're going to try to do their best to overcome a situation that is just hard or near impossible to manage for anyone. Okay? That's it. But we'll see what happens. We shall see. Roderick says, I'm glad you're saying this about the defense, Big O. The so-called bad defense has kept the Dolphins in the last 5 games. The defense is resilient, as beat up as they have been this season. As I've said all year, the offense has failed this team more than the defense. The problem is you guys fall in love with the shiny objects and you see the yards and all that, but in key moments when they've needed them, they've crapped the bed. And the defense has actually kept them in all those games. So, look, you guys, most of you aren't old enough out there to remember this, but there are many games that we would say, dude, wow, Marino kicked ass. He threw 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they lost 42-40. How could Marino put up 40 and they allow 42? How can Marino put up 33 and they allow 37? That never happened this year. Not one time. Not one single game could you sit there and go, dude, the offense dominated today, but the defense just would give up a drive every single time. Nope. Not one time. Happened with Marino all the time. All the time. How did Ken O'Brien outscore him? How does Richard Todd come in and throw for 50 points? How's Wesley Walker with one eye catching all kinds of touchdowns on the Dolphins? It's kind of shit we used to say to ourselves all the time. All the time. Never said it one time this season. Holy crap, Tua was hot, dude. Threw for 375, 4 touchdowns. Running back ran for 70 and a touchdown. and we lost 45-39. How do we lose putting up 39 points? Not one time did it happen. So say whatever you want about the defense. All right, let's do it. Let's get into a little Canes talk. Manny Navarro is set with our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
There he is. How you feeling, my man? You hanging in there?
Hanging in there, brother. Got my girls at home for Christmas break, so they got me up at all hours watching movies with them and playing video games, and so it's a good time. It's a good way to welcome the new year.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's talk about bad stuff. How about last night, man? What'd you think of what you saw last night?
Yeah, unfortunate part of the game, right? I mean, this is the part nobody really wants to see. It's the fact that it really is life and death out there with some of these hits and some of these health issues that some of these guys might have. The one thing I will say, is these athletes. I mean, they go through all kinds of testing. They have all kinds of things checked out beforehand, and this is just an unfortunate situation. He got hit, and his body reacted, and it just scary moment for everybody to remind you just how violent this game can be, and how really, I mean, we're all just human beings underneath those pads and those helmets. Anything can happen to you.
Yeah, no, it's and listen, and we can't be critical of anything. This is something that's never happened before. It's hard to make every right move at this moment, but I think overall they did handle it pretty much as well as you possibly could, and I think what everybody has done is the right thing. The focus has been on the person, which has actually been really cool in this whole process. That's what it should be. It should be about DeMar and nothing else right now.
Sure, absolutely. I think and I think ultimately, the time to make bigger decisions about football and what's safe and what isn't, all those kind of things are discussions down the road. Right now, what matters the most is this young man who's only 24 years old that I watched play at against the University of Miami several times, a very good player at Pittsburgh. That he's able to recover from this, and obviously there's been other guys who have had similar situations in other sports. Certainly it's happened at the high school level here. It's happened at college level. Guys will get rushed to the hospital with this kind of thing. It's just, this is the first time it's ever happened on Monday Night Football in front of an audience as big as it was last night, and so it scares the hell out of everybody. But it's a reminder, again, just the fact that these guys really are putting their lives on the line when they go out there to play sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's where we got to take a little bit of a step back at times to see the sacrifices that are being made there, and obviously they're life threatening sometimes. The sacrifices that these players are making. And listen, we all know you know a bunch of guys after their playing careers, and physically they're not the same, and you'll see the aches and the pains and the limitations and and all that kind of stuff, and you'll see them getting hip replacements and knee replacements and all kinds of things, because the game just does it does wear on you big time.
It really does. And, people don't see that side of it. I write about a lot of these younger players, high school and college guys. And then whenever I run into their fathers who were players before them, you just see them, the way that they struggle physically. A lot of them just lasting issues with their bodies. Like you said, so many different surgeries that they have after their game is long past them. And it's sad. It's sad to see, some of those guys beat up. And that's why I think the ultimate thing here for the NFL is to take care of a lot of these guys. They have a lot of money in that league. Financially, they should be able to take care of their players and their medical bills and all the things that they have to deal with long after their careers are over. And I think that's important. We've seen a lot of guys. You covered a lot of the Dolphins. I covered a lot of the Canes. We've seen a lot of guys just never really go on to live a normal life after football because of what they have to deal with every single day in terms of pain and medication and all the things that their body deals with. And so that's a sacrifice they make to feed their families, to make money, to get out of whatever situation they're in growing up. And I just wish all of these guys the best because like you said, people don't really see it. People don't see the after effects of football.
No, I'm with you there. All right, let's get into a little Canes talk. The Cromani watch. What is the latest on the Cromani watch?
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to announce here on the 15th. That's what he told me and a couple of other writers who were up at the Under Armour All-American game, that he'll be making an announcement then as far as his future is concerned. I mean, everything I've heard internally and externally from Miami is they're still confident he's going to sign with them. So, again, was this all just a hiccup over money? Was this a hiccup over something else? I don't know. I just know that ultimately, from talking to the kid myself for several minutes in Orlando last week, he said it wasn't Colorado. He said it wasn't his grades. It wasn't all these other things that have been thrown out there. He said, you'll see on the 15th, everything will be fine. So we'll see. We'll see if he keeps his word. I know this. He's a very talented player. He's got an NFL frame in terms of height and length. He's got to put on some weight. I don't think he comes in and plays right away if he signs with Miami, but I certainly think he plays a lot his freshman year if he signs with the Hurricanes.
This is not Willie Williams, right?
No, this isn't Willie Williams. Cormani's not have that kind of surprise history.
No, I don't care about the history. I'm just talking about just a flat out bust. I
don't necessarily think so. Oh, I think, having watched him play, there's things about his game that he needs to get better at. He's very focused just on his position. Having watched him play in the state championship game, he's a guy who wants to dominate the guy in front of him, doesn't pay enough attention to the game around him. He had a quarterback run right behind him for a touchdown in the state championship game because he was too busy blocking a smaller receiver out of bounds. He was doing things in the game that made me say, these are things he needs to be coached up on, right? He needs to improve. But from a pure talent perspective, a pure speed, size, all the things that you want in a cornerback, a guy who has athleticism, tremendous athleticism, he's got all those gifts. But it's the same thing like anything else. So it's the environment you walk into, and can they nurture you and make you the best player that you can be? And do you have that dog in you to become that guy? Those are all things that we'll find out with Cormani McClain. I know he's highly motivated. Him and his mother want him to make it. They want to get paid. They want to make some money and have a career in this game. So I think from that perspective, his head's in the right place. But we'll see ultimately what he becomes.
Yeah, because Tate Martell, Jake Garcia, Willie Williams. Over the years, there's all this hype and everything, and we get people going crazy. I remember at Onside, our boy, damn it, what's the kid's name that loves UM?
The kid from Columbus High, yes.
No, the guy that was on with Toast. What's his name, Sean?
Oh, Marshall.
Marsh, yeah. Marsh loved, Jake Garcia, and it was like when Jake, committed, he was like jumping up and down, dove in a pool and everything and all this stuff, and it was like, and the Willie Williams thing too was like this. Oh my God! We're getting Tate Martell and all. When we go to the extreme of that one recruit, do you remember one that we went for that one recruit and it got all that attention and he turned out to be a great player? Because I'm thinking of Tate Martell came with all that hype, Jake Garcia with all that hype, Willie Williams with all that hype, and it was, I don't even want to go back to Magic Betton, and I don't want to go back to, some other ones back in the day that I could go mention and stuff like that. Freeman Brown or something. I don't even know if we went that crazy for Freeman Brown, but I'm just, you know what I mean? I think hyped up about the one guy. That one guy never really comes through. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, the bust percentage in general. Max Olson, who works with me at the Athletic, he does a great job every single year where he goes back and he actually looks to see, how many of these guys lived up to their potential, right? What they were ranked, how many of them turned out to be busts. And, he re-ranks the classes 4 years later. And it's always one of my favorite reads because I think a lot of us just forget, right? Oh, this guy was so hyped. He came in.
Right.
What did he end up doing?
I don't forget it. I don't forget it. I've brought it up to you many times over the years.
Right.
This has always been a sticking point with me because I laugh at grown men getting excited about high school players they've never seen in their lives. They have no idea what those kids have between their ears. They don't know what kind of player or people they're going to be, and it's just silly.
What I was going to tell you is just from an analytical perspective, right? If you want to think about this as a fan, Max, when he does these hit or miss, right? Did they hit on this recruit? Did they not? I mean, even Alabama and Georgia and the schools that really recruit the best players in the country lately, the Clemsons of the world, they're hitting at 70%. So there's 30% of their class will walk out the door having pretty much done nothing at that school, will hit the transfer portal. So if you think that's what the best number is, Miami, I've seen them in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 40s. I mean, you go back and you look at these classes the way I have and the way I break it down. I mean, there are a lot of misses at the University of Miami. So really, you can't go wrong with saying, hey, this guy might be a bust, because chances are pretty good that that's going to happen.
Zev Lumeski, he was supposed to be like, remember that guy?
Zev
Lumeski?
No,
right?
You got
big
me
ass offensive lineman. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Back in the day. All right. Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was another guy who was supposed to be like, he's gonna block out the sun and everything, and it was like Freeman Brown. It just like Freeman Brown was Carroll City.
I believe so, or New Orleans. It was definitely the northwest part of the county. The one guy I was going to mention is Chantrell Henderson, right? We made such a big deal about him. He was the number one recruit in the country when Miami got him, and he started for a couple of years, but really went to the NFL, I think, as a 7th round pick or 6th round pick to Buffalo, and didn't really have much of a career. I mean, look, it's an inexact science, and ultimately the guys who win in this game are really good at identifying the non-busts. They have the fewest busts. That's really what it comes down to. Do you have the fewest amount of busts? And that usually leads to success.
All right. Well, Cromani, you said, they're trying to make the best business deal possible. You got an interesting article in The Athletic talking about NILs and all that at the All-American. What the hell was that thing called?
The Under Armour All-American game. Yes.
Right.
In Orlando.
Right. And I read it yesterday, and you had like there's somebody making $400,000 a year. Give us. I know you don't want to give away the whole article, because that's why we want you to subscribe, because you got great material. But just drop a nugget or two from that article, or maybe a nugget you left off that article.
Sure. Well, I'll say this. So I went there with the hope of getting some answers, because none of these kids want to talk about NIL on the record. They're not gonna attach their name to how much money was floated their way and what school it was. So I granted all of these kids anonymity. I said, listen, I just want to know the truth. What really happened in your recruitment? Who threw the most money at you? Who came after you the hardest with money and talked NIL the most? And really, I mean, I'll say there was a lot of stuff that was left out of that article because my editors didn't want to start the controversy in terms of, pointing fingers at particular schools and particular people. But I will say this. I mean, there was one player, one of the most elite skill players in the country, who said his parents and his high school coaches were called on signing day when he was gonna, there's not supposed to be any contact 3 days before signing day, but these, by school saying, hey, we'll pay you $1 million to flip to us. And so really up until the very last second, this kid's got to decide, am I worth $1 million signing deal right now? Or do I sign with the school that I really think is going to help me become the best player I can be, and the coaches that I really want to play for? And so the article basically, I talked to 15 different guys, 15 different All-Americans, all different kinds of position, offensive line.
Was that a Saudi Arabian high school?
It was not a Saudi Arabian high school. It was
I'm just checking.
Yes,
they're
it was
they're throwing a little money around. They gave Cristiano Ronaldo, $200 million for 2 years. I figured, the Saudis are getting into high school football now, $1 million. That's just kind of right up their alley. So I'm just saying. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So to me, the interesting thing was hearing, which guys, and it is what you think it is. It is the 5-star, it is the quarterbacks, it is the running backs, it is the guys. Those are the guys that have the most money thrown at them. But there are offensive linemen and defensive linemen and guys at other positions that got some pretty good money thrown at them as well throughout the process.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Are you telling me that running backs are making more money in college than in the NFL now?
They could.
Oh, okay.
They
All
could.
right. Okay.
They could be. But what I found interesting more than anything else is how mature a lot of these guys are. Like you say to yourself, why are these guys the best players in the country? Some of these guys are pretty smart, and some of their answers were kind of refreshing. Like some of the things that I asked them regarding NIL and decision making process and what advice they would give to future classes. So if you want to read about what's really happening in recruiting and some of the things that are going on behind the scenes without these kids having to attach their name to it and get in trouble, I suggest you check out the story.
Yep, check it out. You got another nugget that you didn't put in the story?
Well, I'll say this. Miami, I was surprised.
I know how you are. You overdo so you can write your article. So there's probably all kinds of you know what you are? You are what I am as a mechanic putting things together. Like my wife will bring something over and say, build it. And then I'll build it. And then there's 8 parts left over. And she's like, wait a minute. What's you left all these? It doesn't need it. Go ahead. It'll work, whatever, and obviously it's going to break down, because you put me to build it. But in your case, that's you put together the article, and then there's all kinds of nuggets that you left out, because if you had to put those in, it would have been an article that was 87 pages and your editor's losing his mind, and you can't do it that long. So Go ahead. Give us a nugget you left out, because I know you.
Well, I'll say this: the schools, because I know people are going to want to read that article and say who are the biggest quote unquote cheaters, even though all of this is legal now, right? The people are still going to come away saying, "Oh, this guy's a cheater," and that guy. What I would say this is as far as Miami's concerned, I only had a couple of players who really said Miami went after them with money, and I know that there's this idea of John Ruiz and all the spending and all that kind of stuff. To be honest with you, I heard more complimentary things about Mario Cristobal as a recruiter. There were a lot of kids who told me they really like Mario, and that's what drew them to Miami as far as being one of their finalists or one of the schools that they considered. But in terms of money, Michigan State, Texas A&M, Miami, Oregon, those are the schools that I heard were dishing out some of the biggest offers in terms of spending.
Okay. All right. Playoffs. What'd you think of those 2 games this weekend, dude? I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was definitely the best weekend. You'd have to say in terms of college football playoff games. I mean, either one of them would have been spectacular championship games back in the day. I mean, that probably would have been the greatest. The Ohio State Georgia game probably would have gone down as the greatest championship game in college football history if it was a championship game. To come down to a final kick, to be an 83 point shootout, the amount of offense, the comeback, all of those things. I think the one thing that I look forward to here as it expands to 12 is to see, will we get more of those kind of games where it's shootouts and teams just kind of going all out, bringing out all the stops, right? Scoring as much as they can to win these games. And then really what's going to happen beyond that, right? Like ultimately, I think here what you're going to see is the Alabamas and the Georgias and the teams that have depth. Those are the teams that are going to survive these games, because that's the one thing you forget about. We started the show talking about Damar Hamlin with his horrendous injury and what happened to him and the cardiac arrest and everything that happened to him. Well, think about these kids' bodies, right? They're already playing 13, 14 games. Some of these teams are. What's going to happen when you add a 15th, a 16th, or a 17th game through the playoff? Ultimately, I think what we're going to see here is the teams with the most depth are the ones that are going to survive these playoffs. But it was a hell of a semifinal. I enjoyed it. It was highly entertaining to watch both of those games, and it was a great weekend for college football. I think it reminded football fans who may not pay attention to anything but fantasy football in the NFL that college can be exciting too.
I thought that was actually, and listen, my favorite part about this also, TCU came through, because that's really important. because then we get caught up in this whole thing that, oh, we can't even give a team that's what we consider is not the elite team in the conference, but the lesser team in the conference, an opportunity, because we're already in the rut of, yeah, no, dude, Central Florida's and the Boise States and all, they don't belong there. Let's not fall for the banana in the tailpipe. And so this is very important that TCU not just hung in there, but then won the damn game and won it in a fashion that you're like going, well, wait a minute, Georgia 13.5. I know they're awesome, but dude, this TCU team can score some points. Maybe I'm going TCU, so that's how good they were, that it puts people in a position, like, oh, you know what? Hey, maybe this team can actually get it done. So that's good for next Monday.
Yeah, it provides hope for everybody, and there were some interesting articles in the Athletic just about Sam Kahn, who is our resident Texpert, as we call him there in Texas. He did a great article just breaking down the talent on TCU's roster. There's only 17 blue chip players, high school recruits on that roster. So it shows you that you don't always have to be loaded with 60, 70 blue chip players on your roster to advance to the championship game. You can have a lot of seniors, a lot of transfers. I think they had 13 transfers on that team. That those things can be just as valuable to helping you win, and get to the championship game. But again, it's going to be interesting to me how this thing, once we expand to 12, how it's going to play out. Will a TCU be able to pull something off like that? Will another, lesser, I would say, Power 5 team get to the championship game and get through 2 playoff games to get there? Could that be the case? But for now, I think for everybody who's a college football fan, it's refreshing. It's not the same teams in the final. It's 2 different teams, and there's a reason to watch.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right. Any other recruiting news for the Canes?
Well, they're going to have a couple of people visiting, I think, this weekend. One of them, I know Gabby Urrutia just put the name out, so I'll say it now, but it's the Big Ten cornerback that I mentioned to you several weeks ago, Terry Roberts. He's a veteran guy who dealt with some injury history from Iowa. He's supposed to be visiting this weekend. And Gabby reported a defensive lineman, Isaiah Nicholas, a guy who, another big body. They need defensive tackles. They just need bodies there more than anything else to add depth. So they're supposed to be visiting here this weekend, according to Gabby. I haven't checked in with my guys at Miami because I've been enjoying the New Year's. But at some point here, I'll have a conversation to see what's happening in the next few weeks. Again, I think there'll be more guys. I don't want to say run off, but certainly encouraged to graduate at the end of spring. So you'll have the next few months to keep adding to this roster. And look, there's some names, the guys that are jumping in the portal. There was one a little while ago that I tweeted out. I saw he had mentioned he was going to be exiting. He was part of the 2022 recruiting class. Anthony Lucas from Texas A&M. He was a big defensive lineman, top 60 ranked kid in the country. His father, I think, attended the University of Miami as a student, didn't play there, but he wants to, I think, come to Miami. I think there's a chance that Miami could end up getting him, through the transfer portal. So, there's going to be, I told you, there's going to be names that pop in that people aren't expecting. That's a good example of somebody that I think the coaching staff hopes pops into the transfer portal and they're able to go out and get.
All right, good stuff. What are you working on over at The Athletic so folks can check you out?
Well, I'm working on a recruiting roundtable right now with my editor, Mitch Light, who worked for Sports Illustrated for many, many years, and he's our recruiting editor. Grace Rayner, Ari Wasserman, our 2 other national recruiting writers. I'm doing a lot more recruiting now for The Athletic here in the 2023 year. So there'll be a roundtable on that. There'll be sort of a roster breakdown on the University of Miami with all the additions. I did that last week. I just got to actually write the article now. I'm done with my breakdown. So it's just a matter of putting that together. And I'll have a new podcast up soon.
All right, there you go. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. We'll talk on Friday, my friend. Appreciate you immensely.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
You got it. There you go. Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, folks, we've got a statement from the Damar Hamlin family. It says, on behalf of our family, we want to express our sincere gratitude for the love and support shown to Damar during this challenging time. We are deeply moved by the prayers, kind words, and donations from fans around the country. We also want to acknowledge the dedicated first responders and healthcare professionals at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center who have provided exceptional care to Damar. We feel so blessed to be a part of the Buffalo Bills organization and to have their support. We also want to thank Coach Taylor and the Bengals for everything they've done. Your generosity and compassion means the world to us. Please keep Damar in your prayers. We will release updates as soon as we have them. Thank you, the Hamlin family. Wow. Just tough stuff, man. Just tough stuff. This has been something of, a shock to all of us. Something that it's hard for all of us to just kind of be a part of, because we don't want to see this. We all love the sport so much. We follow it religiously, and it's just one of those things that, it bothers you, because it could be your son that could be lying on that field. It could happen in a high school game. It could happen in a college game. It could happen in the NFL. And you have incredible sympathy, for his mom. I believe I wrote it down. Nina is his mom's name. She was in the ambulance with him, by the way, on the way to the hospital. There's some video of him there sharing time with his family before the game and everything. From every sign, it looks like this is a really good young man who's got a good heart. And this is not something that we want to see happen. Just puts a negative light on the sport. As freakish of a situation this is, by the way. This could happen to you running into a door or a wall that you hit your chest, and if you hit it at the same exact time, and we've all run into walls, and we've all run into people, and we've all fallen, and it shows how how life is precious. And I tell you guys all the time, don't I? Like, hey, it's a blessing we're here again today. And if there's something, and I think it's because as you get older, like where I'm at now, I would imagine that it happens to most people as they get into their 50s and their 60s. They probably start to appreciate life a little bit more, because you end up seeing other people passing away and going through other things at a much younger age. And you're like, wow, and wow, it just, look at the the drummer from Modest Mouse, Jeremiah Green. The man passed away at 45 years old. Every day is precious. Every day you get to open your eyes, be grateful, and enjoy the day and make the best of it, and make sure you tell the people you love that you love them. And you got a chance to hug them, hug them. You got a chance to kiss them, because you just never know. And last night, this is what none of us were expecting. Every one of us sat down, and I'm not a Bills fan. I'm not a Bengals fan. I'm a football fan. But I was looking forward to that game. Like a lot of you, like, okay, we're going to see one hell of a game. And it started off pretty damn good. It started off like, okay, there's going to be a lot of fireworks in this game. You know, it doesn't look like the defenses are going to be able to stop these guys. And look what happens. And it just completely levels everything and brings reality into the picture. Because we live in this world of fantasy, watching football players, watching actors, and watching all these beautiful things happen, and the Mega Millions is out, and, you know, all these kind of things. And then life has a way of just kicking us in the ass every once in a while and waking us up, you know, that, hey, you drive around, you're going just to go get something to eat, just to drop somebody off, just to pick somebody up. And on your way, you're going to see an accident, and you're going to see ambulances, and you're going to see devastation, and you're going to go, wow, life changes like this. And you never know. Sad, man. Sad. So let's pray for the best for Damar Hamlin. Let's hope that he is able to make a full recovery. All right. Dolphins, by the way, getting ready for the Jets on Sunday. We will have the pregame show for you, by the way, at 11 a.m. Sean Stanley and I will be here getting you ready. And in a twisted way, I know it doesn't mean anything, and we'll see if they can get into the playoffs, and they won't make a dent in the playoffs, whatever. But you never know. They might get an 18th game this year. If somehow or another Mike McDaniel can coach out of a paper sack, maybe they can figure it out. Will it be Skyler? Will it be Teddy? Yesterday the coach was all about, well, we can't rule Teddy out, this, that. Teddy's already limited. Okay, the good Lord, unfortunately, gave him the brain, gave him enough height to be a stud. He could be an all-pro. He could be a Hall of Famer. But unfortunately, he didn't provide enough physical talent for him. So a guy that also has a broken finger, I don't think you want to play that guy. So, Mike McDaniel can fill you up with a whole bunch of hot air if he wants. Maybe my man Joe Shadow believe him, but I'm not going to believe any of that BS. It's Skylar Thompson's show. Okay, that's what's going to happen this week. There'll be no Teddy. There's no the Jets are we'll get them to prepare for Teddy. They've got to prepare for two quarterbacks because, of course, they've got to be preparing for Teddy Bridgewater. Silliness. Anyway, Skylar will start. Now let me tell you something. You can tell they're going out of the box for the other quarterback, or trying. I'm sorry. Let me phrase it the right way. They're trying. Do you know why? They brought in Kyle Lauletta and I forgot the name of the other kid just last week for workouts. They didn't sign either one. Those guys are ready to sign. Those kind of guys are ready to sign. They must be trying to find out about a veteran quarterback now that's available. See if there's any out there willing to, they're in enough shape and they could come in and they still have an arm and they can fit the system and that kind of crap. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're trying to do. They should call Tony Romo. That way he can choke one more time. No, seriously. I don't know what they're going to do, but they must be doing something along those lines. You're not going to find a veteran like that on somebody's practice squad. You're going to find young guys. So the problem is with all those young guys, they're not in a position to, lead you to the playoffs by winning on Sunday. Most of the guys that you're going to get, like Kyle Lauletta, haven't done anything in the NFL. They've thrown a few passes, but they haven't really had any kind of success. So those guys are a dime a dozen out there. You can find a couple of those guys, but the fact that it's Tuesday and they haven't signed anybody, that tells me they're trying to get a veteran in here. The question is, do you love everybody on your practice squad that much? Can't you sign two of them? Can't you right now get a young guy already in? Let's say you're looking for a veteran. Play with me in this game. So you go and sign Kyle Lauletta. You bring him in. You knock somebody off your practice squad. He comes in. Tomorrow he starts working out with your team already. All right, once you hit the practice field on Wednesday. You're still trying to find a veteran right now. If you do find that veteran, well, then now you can bring him in and you can put Teddy on the IR and activate the veteran onto that. And then the practice squad guy can stay there for a week, and then you can let him go unless you need him on Sunday. And then if you feel like activating him, you do that too also. What the hell? I mean, with the kind of luck Miami has, yeah, that probably is, you probably need an extra quarterback with the luck that Miami has. Jose, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, bring back Fitzpatrick for a playoff push. That could be that might work. That's a veteran. He's probably making more, working for Amazon than he will for a game. Now, remember, he had hip surgery. So I don't know if he wants to come back and risk anything with the hip. But that would be the kind of guy that you could bring in. That would make some sense, man. Actually, gotta say that wouldn't be a bad one. But this tells me they're working on that, because the young guy, they would have already had him in. No doubt in my mind, they already would have had him in. Let me see here. Oh, Steve M. Steve M., I didn't notice you sent in Bitcoin today. Thank you, sir. Damn, appreciate you. There we go. Thank you, Steve M. I love the Bitcoin donations on Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. He says, for the blind ass fan alert today. Oh, that's it. That's it.
Blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
That's awesome. Nice job by you, my brother. Appreciate you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. What else do we have going on? Big O, do you think Miami is considering a future without Tua? No, not at all. Not at all. Well, unless you clean house, then yeah, for sure. Yes, that'll happen. But I don't think so. Listen, Stephen Ross is liable to do anything, but I don't think they're going to make any changes. I think they bring everybody back. So that's all. There's a lot of bad luck this year, man. A lot of bad luck this year. I wish they would have had some luck this year. It would have been a better team. It's just, this year was very, very frustrating to experience. All right, let me take a quick break here. Hour number 3 of the Big O Radio Show is next.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Rock and roll, final hour of the program. Heat last night defeat the Clippers 110-100. They overcome their third quarter where the Clippers outscored them 34-14. Jimmy Butler only 9 points in this game, but Bam Adebayo had 31 in 37 minutes. He is balling, dude. And Tyler had 23 points in 39 minutes and continues to fill the stat sheet. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. So nice job by them picking up the victory against the Clippers. They have got the Lakers tomorrow, another very winnable game on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So we'll stay up for that one too on Wednesday. So we'll be tired on Thursday. Oh, guess what, Sean? I get to sleep in Thursday. You know, I have yet to, like, my mind hasn't adjusted to Thursdays 3 to 6. Like I'm still stuck on 10 a.m. and all that. Last Thursday, I was like watching television. I was like, oh man, okay, I gotta go see. I gotta wake up early. And my wife goes, no, you don't. Tomorrow's Thursday. I'm like, yeah, that's right. So I stayed up for another hour to watch television. So, you know, it helped. At least I still got my sleep. So yeah, at least on Wednesday, if I'm staying up for the Lakers like I did last night, and, you know, you wake up tired, well, you know, at least I'll be able to sleep in after the Lakers. Although my luck with that Lakers game, it'll go into like triple overtime. And I'll be up to like 3 a.m. or something watching that game. But anyway, let's hope they can pick up a victory there again. They are 2 games over 500, so maybe they can start to build this record back up again. And we need it badly after this Dolphin season. The Panther season is garbage. You know, it's Inter Miami made the playoffs. At least we have that. And then we've got the very disappointing Florida Panthers tonight at Florida Live Arena, or FLA Live Arena. I'm sorry, 7 o'clock. At least this is very winnable. If you lose to the Coyotes at home, all right, Panthers, you cannot lose to the Coyotes at home tonight. If you lose to the Coyotes at home tonight, do me a favor, shut down the season. Okay? Just forfeit the rest of your games. You cannot lose to the Coyotes tonight. That's all I'm saying. 13, 17, and 5. They normally suck. They strive on sucking. And I know that the Panthers kind of suck this year, but come on, man. Don't suck that much. Let's go. Let's go. Donovan Mitchell hit 71 points last night. It's pretty amazing. Donovan Mitchell, obviously the whole Utah thing, they couldn't get over the hump, and Utah now is in a rebuild, and nice job by the Heat getting a victory there on the road. They needed to do that. But Mitchell last night, Bulls were down big time last night. I think they were down by like 21 points or something. And Mitchell scores 71 points in a 145-134 game. Cavs are the 4th seed in the conference. The Heat are the 7th seed, by the way, just to kind of put it in perspective. Okay, Cavs having a pretty good year. They got a nice little team, and adding the Donovan Mitchell move, I got to tell you, man, I did not see that coming. In a million years, I wouldn't have thought that Donovan Mitchell is going to end up in Cleveland. And good for Cleveland. Kudos to them, man. Making moves and trying to be something without LeBron, because that's the only time they've ever had success is with LeBron. So that's actually pretty cool by them. That was awesome. And Donovan Mitchell just looks like a good dude. He's easy to root for. I will say that. Got to mention, I'd be remiss if I did not mention our friends in California, Northern California. I know we've got lots of listeners in that area, in the Sacramento area, the Sierra Nevada, got like 8 feet of snow. In Sacramento and Northern California, they've got devastating floods going on. Man, just the natural catastrophes that are going on nowadays. It is extreme. And that's the whole part of climate change now, is that you're going to get extremes both ways, whether it's hurricanes and typhoons, or you're going to get snowstorms and weather systems and all that, and they're going to be just much worse than they've ever been. And so it'll be brutal rain like we saw, throughout the Carolinas and some of the other states a couple months back, or we're going to see these killer floods and then snowstorms like we saw in the Sierra Nevadas, and we saw all throughout the northern part of the country into the Northeast. It's crazy, man. The extremes because of all of the weather, all of the climate change puts a real burden on everything going on. All right, Jason and Big O, Salguero reported McDaniel. Yeah, I already talked about that. I don't believe McDaniel's on the hot seat. Maybe he's right, but I'll disagree with that part. The part of the assistant coaches, that's a no-brainer. Anybody can write that. Obviously, those guys are going to be on the hot seat. Rosendo, Samuel. Oh, you're talking to Samuel. Lofi, Sam. No, Sam. Alfredo, this is a good time slot for Big O. Those 10-2 clowns on QAM are. Alfredo, I don't do this for hours. I do this for convenience, my brother. Okay, that's why I do it. I don't really care who's on their side or anything like that. We get more downloads than all of their shows, so it doesn't really matter to me. We have more followers on Twitter than they have. We have more subscribers on 3 times the subscribers on YouTube than they have. So I don't do anything it's not competition, my brother. Nothing on that station is competition to us. Okay, with all due respect, but it's not competition for us. So, you can get into your silliness if you want, but I don't really give a rat's ass about any of that. Yeah, Sean, what do you got?
No, I was saying he was responding to Rosendo. Rosendo spoke up early when you said that and said 3 would be a good time slot for you.
No, well, that's a sponsor.
That.
Yeah, that's a sponsor that wants us 3 to 6. So we do what the sponsor wants. But I'm going to do what I want to do. And what I want to do is 10 o'clock in the morning because I'm not doing 6 in the morning. I'm not getting up that early. And 10 is a reasonable time to get up. And then I'm done by 1 or 2. Reasonable time to end. I still have the afternoon and into the evening. So that's why I do it. I do it because Sean and I control our own destiny. We are not driven by any corporate anything whatsoever. So I do it simply out of my convenience and what I want to do and what I enjoy. So it's for my own purposes. Has nothing to do with anything else but that. Trust me on that. Okay? So that's the only reason why we do it this way, because I feel like doing it this way. True Fin Fan says there is no competition to the show, period. There isn't. Not for nothing, but we're actually like a real sports talk show. Okay? And in town, I think the only other person doing it is Joe. That's it. It's the only other person doing it. Outside of that, there are no other real. I just told you this earlier. We just talked about the whole Bayless thing and all that. It's either clowning around on the air or bait talk. You know, let's try to find some shock value in this story and that story so we can get a rise out of people. That's what radio has become. That's what television has become. There are very few real talk shows, sports talk shows, that is. Although I am guilty of going on the, crypto tangent, a little music. I'll do some of that. Speaking of music, man, I didn't know plane tickets to Nova Scotia were that expensive. I wanted to go see April Wine for the final time on March 7th, but I can't, I'm not a rich dude. The hell is that, man? It's like a $600 ticket. And I got to pay for a hotel for a couple days. The concert ticket's like the cheapest thing out of it. Man. And they don't have a lot of flights. There aren't a lot of like nonstop flights. In fact, I think there are none. You have to connect through Toronto, I think it is, through Air Canada. Did not know it was that expensive. Put a damper on it, bro. Put a damper on that. Speaking of music, I put a damper. That kind of hurt me yesterday when I saw that. I was like, damn, dude. Seriously? That expensive? I was thinking, I'll fly to Nova Scotia, maybe $250, $300, $350 the max. It's $600, bro. Crazy, man. And that's the last one left for him, which sucks. Like he's not going to, and he sounds great too. I went back to YouTube yesterday to see some of his concerts from 2022, and he still sounds fantastic. I was hoping to hear a little Telling Me Lies and I Want to Rock. Man. Just Between You and Me. So many great songs April Wine has. I know most of you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Juice F5. Any way to start doing FaceTime calls to the show? Just kidding. Chris says, I like Hockman and Crowder. Good dudes. They have fun on the air. They do a good job having fun on the air. Not a sports show, but they do an excellent job. Yes. Rosendo says, agree. Your work best what time works for you and what your sponsors give you, but my preference is 3. Well, then Thursdays you'll enjoy that show, Rosendo. But outside of that, if it's under my control, I'm doing 10 a.m., man. You know what I mean? I'd rather get it out of the way in the middle of the day, and then I've got the rest of the day to work and do some other things. When we do that afternoon show, it takes me completely off the whole thing. And then you're leaving somewhere at 6:30, which now you've got a whole crap ton of traffic to get home and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I'd rather do a 10 a.m. show. That's for me is the perfect time. But for Hialeah Park, I totally understand. Drive time. Bring them in, bring them into the casino and all that kind of stuff. So it makes a ton of sense for them. And so we accommodate our amazing sponsors. So That's it. But outside of that, yeah, it'll be a 10 a.m. show if it's under my control. Oh, it would be fun if you took calls back. No, it would not be, Cigar Social. We already tried that, my brother. We tried that on Onside. It wasn't even worth it. That's the one thing that I regret on Onside doing was demanding phones. We needed a lot more help in so many other areas that, we weren't getting any help in. But they did build a really nice studio for us and the phone lines. And unfortunately, the phone lines were only good for interviews. Outside of that, the calls aren't worth it because you don't really get a lot of great calls. And it's like the chat board. You're going to get a lot of bad chats and you just don't have to read them. You can just skip over them and go to some of the good ones. And we read some of the bad ones. And then those are the people. Remember what I told you before, that the loud are usually the minority because they want to be heard. The people that probably usually have something good to say, they're not really that, they don't feel empowered to have to call in and say it, So it's phones. Listeners rarely add something to the show. I hate to say it. Callers rarely add something to the show because more often than not, the wrong people are calling in. That's the thing. And so that's why phones are, and it's an expense that we cannot afford nowadays. It's just way too expensive to do that kind of stuff too. So it's so expensive and it doesn't pay off for itself. And then now for guests, we don't need a phone line anymore. StreamYard allows us to not need a phone line. So that's why. I'll be honest with you. Let's see. What else do we have? You've got over 100K followers on Twitter. QM will never reach that. Well, I've got close. It's like 97, 98 or something like that. 95 or something. But yeah. Yeah, no, of course. Well, QM will be dying soon. So it's just, there's not much time left for that station, period, as it is. Let's see what else. Wouldn't it be good for Big O's blood pressure? Well, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but probably not. Oh, the phones, they're not used enough, so it doesn't really matter. It's not really something that is needed anymore for a talk show. I mean, maybe some hosts out there that they desperately need it because they're not good enough as a talk show host and coming up with enough topics to talk about and all those kind of things. Like most people can't do what we do every single day here. It's 12:30. I've talked for 2.5 hours and how many commercials have you seen in 2.5 hours? 5 minutes? Most hosts that are on QAM right now can't do this, where they're constantly talking without long commercial breaks and 7-8 minute breaks. And then they come back and they only have to talk for 8 or 9 minutes. So it makes it really easy to do sports talk radio. It kills momentum because so many commercial breaks hurts the hosts. Doesn't help, the guys over there at QAM, all those commercial breaks, but it is what it is, Those guys are doing a good job with what they have there. Miss watching to Big O and Alex at the draft party. Well, we'll have a draft party this year, and you can come on out and join us. The show is perfect how it is. Change nothing. Appreciate you, man. Very nice. Although I want to work on the studio. I want to enlarge the shot of the studio, put the camera back, get a wider shot, get a second camera. I've been thinking about that kind of stuff to see how I can make Sean's life a little bit more difficult and do all of that the right way. See, there you go. So Just that's the idea. Make Sean's life a little more difficult. That's the plan here on the show every day. Most of the time, the people that are calling in have no idea what they're saying and are just saying joking. Yeah, I know. It's like I told you. They're loud and they're obnoxious and they're the minority, but that's why, you know. How long have you had a YouTube channel, Big O? Nice hat, by the way. Thank you. A couple years now. A couple years we've had the YouTube channel. I took off for 6 months and then came back because I had the throat issues. And it was the on-site stuff just piled on and it was too much. So we did it for 6 months, then we stopped for 6 months, then we've been on for the last year now straight again. And everything else is cool. Everything else is cool. No, and I appreciate, thank you for, I like all this stuff, but we need to enlarge. Need to enlarge because I got stuff that I got to include on here and I can't. Oh. I got my Funko Pop Bono in a car. There you go. The Octoon Baby car. See there? Can't put this up. I can't show it. Can't show it off. You can't see it. See, there's a bunch of my Funko Pops there, but you can't see all of them. See the you can't see the new Slash one that I have here. See? I've got the Edge, then I've got Bono, and then I've got Slash. And then I've got, of course, Jeff Conine. Gotta love my Marlins. Always gotta love the Marlins. No matter if the Marlins don't love us and don't give us any entertainment or anything like that. But we gotta enlarge it. We got so many things we want to add. I've shown this many times to you. Well, no, because most of you don't watch every day. Whatever. Oh, hey, I got my Marlins bell. I got no space for the Marlins bell. I thought it was up there and lost. It was down here. This Mandalorian my daughter gave me, this Funko Pop Mandalorian, and I can't put it up. You guys can't see it. See? So I got to enlarge the studio and the look of the studio to put everything in more of a wider shot for everybody. I think it's important. So there you go. Abel says, U2 Love. Yes. Well, it's my favorite band, of course. But yeah, so we got to enlarge the studio. And that way I can kind of stand and it's a bigger shot and all that stuff. And you guys can have fun with my shirts every day because I wear a different concert shirt every day, but you don't get to see it every day. All that kind of stuff. We'd have a little more fun with it if it's a bigger look. So now Sean, we got to work on that now. We got to work on the bigger look. You can work the. He shut the picture off right away. It's like, I don't want anything to do with that. That's too much work. Can we add multiple cameras, Sean? Can you run from there? No, there he goes. He shut it off again. He doesn't want to talk. What are you talking? Don't put more work on me. No, we can't. Just one? Can't have two? No?
We can add them. We just have to send the link, I think, with StreamYard.
Okay. All right. We can do that, actually. It's a possibility. It's a way of doing it. Big O, your place looks like a venue for Hialeah Opalaka Flea. Exactly. That's Opalaka, Hialeah. It's the place to go. Opalaka, Hialeah. You see? I knew the theme song. Huh? There you go. The Bug Mike, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, all this debate about GM, coach, free agents, draft pick, it's really all about Tua. If he could stay healthy, we'd be a top AFC team. Well, no. No. That's not true. That's not true. It doesn't help Tua If you're running the ball against the Bills and you have a 3rd and 1, a 3rd and 2, a 3rd and 3, and you decide not to run the ball and extend the drives and maybe put more points on the board, it doesn't help Tua if you put Braylon Sanders to run a route that he doesn't know he's supposed to run when Tua threw him a perfect touchdown. It does not help Tua when you're gouging the Packers for 9 yards a carry, and here comes 3rd and 3, and guess what you want to do now? Pass the ball. So Mike McDaniel needs to become a better head coach to become that team you want to be in the AFC. So it's not just about Tua staying healthy. That's obvious. We all know Tua's got to freaking screw his head on right and play the game the way he needs to play. That's the problem with Tua Tagovailoa. And please, somebody grab this video and get it to him. Tua, we love you, brother. You can be a freaking star in this league. There's only one thing you got to learn how to do. Play the way Tua Tagovailoa needs to play to survive in this game. And you can't play like Josh Allen. And you can't play like Pat Mahomes. Don't try to prove it to me or anybody else. You need to play like Drew Brees. You need to make your decision, make it quick, get rid of the football. You need to come to the realization that your body is not Ben Roethlisberger's. Your body is not Cam Newton's. Your body is not Josh Allen. And you don't have the durability of Brett Favre. So since you don't possess the size or durability of those guys, then you need to learn how to get rid of the football and get rid of it quickly, please. You do that, young man, you will have a great career with the Dolphins. You will celebrate a Super Bowl, maybe 2. You will go to the Hall of Fame. You'll be known as one of the great quarterbacks of all time. It's up to you. You want to play the way you've been playing? You'll be out of the league in 7 years. Too many concussions, and people won't take a chance on you. Too many breakdowns, too fragile. They won't take a chance on you. So if you want to build up value for yourself, get rid of the goddamn football. We love you. Fins up. So your answer, yeah, Tua's got to stay healthy. But your real answer, Mike McDaniel's got to be a better coach. No shot Miami becomes an elite team with the kind of coaching he did this year. No shot. None. So he needs to help his defense, his offense, his quarterback, his run game, his offensive line, and the sanity of his fan base. He also needs to do that. EJD Construction, by the way, proud sponsor of our program. We love talking about EJD Construction. They do it all, man. I'm telling you. And right now, I know a lot of people here in South Florida, Dade and Broward, by the way, that's what they service. No Palm Beach, no Monroe County, Dade and Broward only. For you listeners out there, I know a lot of you are now, you got to renew your insurance policy. Or maybe it's coming up in another month or 3. Well, guess what might be happening? If your home is over 20 years old, these insurance companies are going to tell you, you need to upgrade your roof. Because if you don't put it up to the new code, we cannot give you a new policy, and you will not be covered during hurricane season, and that could be catastrophic, as you all know. So call EJD Construction, 305-433-4843. I don't care what it is you want to do. Custom home construction, major home remodeling. We're not talking about, some kind of a handyman, and they're fully insured, liability and workers' comp. 305-433-4843. Call them in Dade and Broward, ejdconstruction.com. When sports and business collide, we love doing something called the KSDT CPA Sports Business Report. right. So this is interesting. We just had the college football semifinal games. Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, Michigan. Well, guess what? The average viewership, 21.7 million viewers, up 28% from last year, and it should be. Both games were freaking awesome. Best ratings in the last 5 years. The Ohio State-Georgia game, it had 22.1 million. It peaked at 23.9 million between 9:45 and 10 p.m. It's the most watched primetime semifinal game since the first year of the college football playoffs and fourth best ever in ratings. The TCU Michigan averaged 21.4 million, peaked at 26.4 million between 7:45 and 8 p.m. How awesome is that? Now, this is the third most ranked semifinal game since the college football era started. Pretty amazing. So they are rocking with their ratings. And because Americans we absolutely love, okay, the underdog. I think a lot of people are going to be rooting for TCU on Monday. I know I'm going to be rooting for TCU. I think a lot of people are going to be intrigued. Can TCU take down Georgia? Georgia's going for back-to-back national championships, which is an amazing accomplishment. Something our beloved University of Miami, they won 5 titles. They could not do it in back-to-back years, no matter how dominant they were. Okay? Could have done it in 2002 if it wasn't for the referees, but whatever. That's another story. So I believe if it's not the number one rank, well, let me preface it with this. If it's a good game, if it's a competitive game and TCU is in it all the way through, it'll be either number 1 or number 2 in ratings all time, I bet you. Because of the love of the underdog. The fact that you've got a team like TCU there, I think a lot of people are going to be intrigued if they can, Samson and Goliath. They're going to be intrigued to see if they can take down the big bad boys from the SEC. That's going to be freaking awesome on Monday night. And if it's a competitive game, if it's a blowout, obviously the ratings will not be good. Not as good. But if it's a competitive game, I could see this becoming, if not the most watched one, number 2. I'll be intrigued. We'll talk about it on Tuesday or Wednesday after that game when the ratings come out. That is your KSDT CPA Sports Business Report.
This has been the KSDT Sports Business Report. KSDT CPA is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax and accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit online at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right. How the market's doing right now, man? What are the markets doing right now? The S&P is down a point. The NASDAQ is down 1.1 1.1 I guess. And then the Dow is down 0.75 point. All right. So there you go. Markets are down a little bit. Where is Bitcoin at? Is it still stuck in the same spot? In the 16.6, 16.9 range, 16.8. Okay, whatever. It's all hasn't moved much. It's really amazing. I wonder how Tesla's doing, by the way. Tesla, oh my God. Tesla is down 14.5%. It's down to 105 now. I keep saying if it gets under 100, I might just start delving into it. because God, whew, man, he has sold off so much. He says he's not selling any more stock, but he sold off like 28 billion. There's going to be layoffs. They didn't reach their quota this year in sales. Wow, down to $105. They are plummeting, dude. That is crazy what's gone on with Tesla. My God. All right. McDaniel did what he was brought in to do, make Tua look good, and now guys like Big O want to blame him when the biggest problem is our QB couldn't stay healthy. Well, Son of Liberty, I get it, brother. You don't watch the games or something, but there's plenty of examples that McDaniel needs to fix as a head coach. The obvious one is Tua needs to get healthy, and that's up to Tua. That is not on McDaniel. Tua is the one that's going to have to learn how to play the right way. But yeah. The charity for Hamlin's up to 4.1 million. That's amazing. That really is amazing. Yep. Let's see. What else do we have? True greats and Tua should be mentioned together on halves of great seasons. Well, I'm willing to run it back with Tua and McDaniel if they can get Brady or Rodgers, but you got to bring in solid backups like a Minshew, and if Tua gets hurt, he's QB2 for the rest of the season. Minshew's not good enough. You do know that, right? Like, he's a nice player to have as a backup, but he's a very poor starter in the NFL. You know, I like Gardner Minshew as a backup. I think it's a really good backup for you to have, but he's not your answer, and he's not going to carry you anywhere. He's not going to be a better passer than Tua, ever. Not even close. Tua's issue is the injuries, and he has to learn how to stay healthy. Abel says, can you believe our coach has not won a single challenge this year? Yeah, he's been bad on challenges. He screwed up whoever he has reviewing plays, missing out on that tight end. That wasn't a catch, and they weren't on top of it. Again, young staff, man, new staff. He's got a lot of shit to figure out. Let's see. Robert Lital is reporting that Shannon Sharp decided to take the day off and leave Skip Bayless alone to host Undisputed. Watch Bayless try to explain his tweet about Damar Hamlin that got him in. Oh, okay. Good job by Shannon Sharp to I don't need this smoke. You created your own mess. I mean, I don't even know why he's still working. You know, it's disgraceful that they didn't fire him. It's disgraceful that they haven't fired him, but they don't care. That's all it is. Big O, I know you want to give McDaniel a break, but he has to earn it, and I hope he earns it this Sunday. Steven, he didn't earn it this year. Unless he can win a playoff game. That's the only way he makes up for all the mess that he's had this year in coaching. Next year is when he has to make up for it by becoming a better coach. And that's fine. Listen, I can live with the mistakes that McDaniel's made because he's a first-year coach and he's a young guy and all of that stuff. I want to see if he learns from it next year. That's where I'm really intrigued is, okay, let me see what you got next year. And then it's kind of like with Flo. I saw a lot of stuff in year 2 that was like, yo, what the? And then year 3 was more of it, and that's kind of how he lost me, you know? So with McDaniel, unfortunately, it's come in year 1, and now I got to see it in year 2, and if he gets better, then we're good. If he doesn't, then there you go. Bro, Apple's market cap fell under $2 trillion. Wow. That's big. That is big. Man. Holy moly. Holy moly. Holy moly. Let me see Apple. Where are we at with Apple? Apple's down 5%, down to $124. Another one. Another one. It's another one to take advantage of right there. That's crazy. It was at $155 on October 28th. And it's at 124. Let me tell you something. Apple has not gone down. This is when you know we're finally officially going to hit the bottom of the recession. When the Apples of the world are coming down, the Microsofts of the world are coming down, like a bunch of other ones are going to come down. You know, there's no doubt. The lesser stocks are going to come down. But when you start seeing the big boys, the Apples and the Microsoft is down 2% now. It's down to $237. Okay. And this thing was at $292 on August 16th of last year. Okay. And now it's at 237. And it's not its lowest point because it was at 221 on November 4th, and then it climbed, and now it's gone down a little bit. But when you start seeing these big boys start taking major hits, Tesla's different. Tesla's been taking some of those were self-inflicted because of his actions on Twitter, his selling of the stocks, and then some of the things that have come up short with Tesla has kind of created that whole mess with him. You know what I mean? Personally, I think with Elon, I've said this before, as smart as he is, even smart people can do stupid things. And not to get too political, but his comments are geared to more one side of the aisle, and the dummy doesn't realize that the people that are buying his cars are from the opposite aisle mostly. So where he stands is not exactly where his customers stand. Just being factual here. It's like a weird dynamic. Like, dude, don't you understand who your main clients are? Like, watch your politics, bro. You're completely opposite of the people that are mostly buying your cars. So just weird. But when you start seeing these big stocks go down, this is when we're getting closer now to the bottom of the recession. So I think now is when we're going to start hitting it here. I've been thinking this anyways from the get-go, that the first half of the year to maybe even possibly to September, we'll have a downside, and then boom, we're running. Stocks, crypto, everything starts running. The Fed pivot. Once you see these big stocks go down and the Fed pivot, oh my God, pour your money into your investments. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not a financial advisor, just a guy that likes crypto. But I'm just saying, these are the signs coming of the real bottom now that we're starting to scratch. So we're really, really close. That's the good thing. After this brutal year, we're really, really close now. Apple is like everyone, having a reset. Exactly. But it's great to try to catch Apple or Microsoft or Tesla in the bottom. Those are stocks that you can't lose. Okay? Those stocks are going to take off. Yeah. If you have the opportunity, I know if I have the opportunity, I would definitely take advantage of it. So can we say recession? If this can, oh no, it's we've already been like in a recession. I think we're gonna go into like stagflation, recession, all kinds of crap going on for several. Yeah, it'll hit. We're gonna see a lot of unemployment now coming up. There are gonna be companies cutting jobs left and right, and then the Fed will then pivot. It's the weirdest thing. The Fed took so long to raise the rates. They should have been raising them a year before when they started. And instead, they have done it so quickly that it has put a stranglehold on the economy. And it's just, now we're going to feel it. And then once they see that the economy hits rock bottom, people are losing their jobs, then they do the pivot and print the money. It's predictable, bro. And bury the value of our dollar. That's all. What Trump and Biden have done in the printing of money, oh my God. Oh, wow. And this has been worse because all it is, and I don't give a shit about either side, as you all know. Well, those of you might know. Like Bush Jr. was brutal. Then Obama was worse. Then Trump was even worse than that. And now Biden will top that. And then whoever gets elected next, it's just, that's how it's been. It doesn't matter what side it is. Just go look at the deficit. Go look at the damage to the deficit. And each president, doesn't matter what side, makes it worse and worse and worse. So let me tell you something. Whoever's next, which I think it's DeSantis probably so far, if we're looking at all the candidates, then he's got a really tough job to screw up even more than Biden. It's going to be tough. I don't think he will, actually. I think he'll manage it a little better than Biden. Not good enough because none of them manage it good enough. But, yeah. We are in stagflation. You can say that. You can say that. Things are bad. So, anyway. Elon Musk going to be the first owner of an NFL team on Mars. There we go. Best wasted talent by Dolphins, Marino and Williams. Oh, Ricky. I see what you're saying. Okay. Big O, what policy did you disagree with Trump? Hate? Is that good enough for you, Lofi? Did you notice how just hate rose? I'm sorry. I voted for Reagan. I don't remember him embracing hate groups. Lofi, do you remember that? Because I voted for Reagan. I voted for Clinton. I voted for Bush. I voted for Bush Jr. Voted for Obama. I never saw hate groups around those presidents. I never saw any of those presidents say stand down or stand by their Proud Boys. I never saw any president, Democrat, Republican, independent, which we never had an independent president, I think. I've never heard any of them, say there are good people on both sides of Charlottesville. I'm sorry, Lofi. Did you miss that? Did you miss hate? Because we're attacking our Jewish family all over the place. We're attacking blacks all over the place. We're attacking the LGBT community. We're attacking Asians for being Asians. Yeah. You haven't noticed the hate go up? You haven't noticed how openly it is now because somebody opened up for you to be hateful? You didn't. That's your policy, bro? I'm with Trump on immigration, all that. Yeah, we got to slow all that stuff down and block it out. And yeah, there are some things that I like, but the person, what he's all about himself, he's not about Americans. I'm not exactly sure what you're watching, Lofi. Pretty disappointed in you if you did not see that, or you're not smart enough to see the hate. Okay? So there are certain things you can tolerate that I'm not tolerating. So I don't know. Insurrection? You see any other president, Democrat or Republican, that he loves those people? All those terrorists that were attacking the Capitol, Lofi? What policy is that, Lofi? I must have missed it. Come on, man. Let's go. Let's not be stupid now. You know what I mean? Let's not be stupid. All right? I've voted Republican many times, and I've voted Democrat too, like I've told you. I don't care about Democrats or Republicans. I care about Americans. And that guy was the worst thing that could ever happen to our country. What did he have some good plans of yes, but he was the wrong person to execute it. This is the dumbass that said, let's get some blue light and maybe it'll kill the COVID. Let's disinfectant. I mean, come on, man. Give me a break. Stop it already with the election stuff, man. Those of you out there, you still think that it was rigged? I mean, how dumb can you be? Seriously. Like, how dumb can you be? My God. Yeah, well, Robbie Ralph, first of all, you've got two first names. Talk about your political views are so questionable. Why? Because you kiss Trump's ass? Because you have your head up the orangutan's ass? Is that why? Why? Because I don't agree with you because I slammed that loser? I've always slammed that loser? Come on, man. The hell out of here. And all that stuff. I mean, it just gets to a point where it's just freaking ignorant. It just is. That's what it gets to. It's a point where it's just ignorance. That guy was the worst thing that could ever happen to this country. The worst thing. He opened up the door for hate like no one else ever has. He made it all right for you to just walk up to, because you're Asian, let's beat on you. Why? Because he started all that by attacking China. And then he makes it sound like all Asians are bad. When it has nothing to do with the Asians, it has to do with the government. North Koreans aren't bad, it's the government. Cubans aren't bad, it's the government. Russians aren't bad, it's the government. Chinese people aren't bad, it's the damn government. I mean, Jesus, it's ridiculous. It's ignorance is what it gets to a point already. With Trump, it's all about ignorance. Just is, man. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, Lofi, policies and all that. Please. Let's not embarrass ourselves with not actually understanding what the hell is going on. Sometimes it really is baffling to me what goes on in this country. Anyway, yeah, good God. Now, I know. But what am I going to do? I agree with you, but name calling isn't one. I'll keep tuning in. Go Canes. Brother, listen, man. If you're sensitive, don't listen to this channel. I'm not into sensitivity, bro. I'm not worried about your feelings. Seriously. I'm not worried. If your feelings are hurt, then yeah, we're not the show for you. We're not the show for you. Because I don't care about your feelings. So if you're ultra sensitive, not the program for you, man. Not the program. Let's see. Dude missed me with this rant. The world has always been. Oh, yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I know. It's like it is now, right? Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's been like it is right now, 10 years ago and 20 years ago. Of course it is. Of course it is. It's not difficult, but both parties are different. Also the same. One puppet master. They all screw us. I hate politics, Big O. Exactly. And that's the best part about it is that, like some of you out there, you think I'm trying to defend the Democrats, which they're a joke. They're a complete joke. You know what I'm saying? And so are the Republicans. We're screwed either way. It doesn't matter who you put up there. We don't get any good candidates to vote for. None of them. They all are sold out. They all have their own interest into whatever they're into, man. It sucks. They're not about Americans. They're either about whatever their Democratic interests are or whatever their Republican interests are. That's what they're all about. They're not about what's best for you and me. That you can forget about. Like, you're the dumbest Republican or Democrat in the world if you actually believe that the politicians that you're voting for are truly doing what's best for you and not what's best for their personal interest and who greased their pockets and all that stuff. Come on, man. Let's not be stupid here. You know, it's like it's stupid on both ends. You know? The fools that, think Trump is actually something and the fools that actually think Biden is something. And look at all the FTX mess. Democrats got a lot of money from that scam. They're all dirty, dude. They're all dirty everywhere. Give me a break. The silliest thing in the world is when I hear a Democrat or Republican make it sound like the other side's the problem and they're the solution. That's the most ignorant thing in the world. Neither side has got it right. They're not even close to getting it right. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. None of them care. If they cared about us, you think they would pass that $1.7 trillion thing that they just passed to throw away all that money? Come on, man. You're paying for that, and so am I. And so are our kids. Come on. None of these, whatever. We should have elected Waylon Jennings Bryan. I'm afraid we're going to start watering our front lawns with Gatorade. That's how dumb the world is right now, bro. Dems and GOP, both self-serving and pander to their base. Exactly. That's it. That's all. As the better the quicker all of you are, realize that like what you're doing on the Democratic side doesn't mean jack, that you're burying us. And on the Republican side, when you realize the same thing is going on, then you'll be better off. That's why I will vote both sides. I will just vote for the lesser of the two evils, because I've never voted for somebody like, oh yeah, I'm voting for somebody that I really love and great all the way through. It's funny. Big O for president. Yep, there. I always get that every once in a while when I get on these rants. And then I say, all you guys want to do is kill me. I don't have that much time left already. I'm 56. I don't know when my time is up, but it's probably pretty soon. You want to put me in the presidential office? Yeah. I'll be dead in 10 minutes. Trump 2024. It's hilarious. DeSantis is going to rout him by like, I don't know. Anyway, he's lost every election. He'll lose this one too. He'll lose, and he's losing worse and worse and worse. He lost to Hillary by 3 million votes. He lost to Biden by 7 million votes. He won't even get there. Now DeSantis will crush him, and then he can just get the hell out. I think DeSantis that's my early prediction right now. DeSantis is the president in 2024. That's my early prediction. I have to see all the candidates, but I don't see anybody on the Democratic side that is going to beat DeSantis. He may not be perfect, but I think he's probably the guy that's going to win when it's all said and done. Yeah. It's kind of like like NFL teams, like the Dolphins. You get that tough, hard-nosed coach. Now you're going to get the easier coach, the players coach, and then you'll go back to the hard-nosed coach, right? So you went from the hard-nosed racist whatever dude, and then now you went to Gerald Ford Part 2 in Joe Biden, because that's what Joe Biden is. He's a deadbeat president like Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter and George Bush Jr. They're all the same. It's all just guys. And then now we'll go back to a hard ass, and it'll be DeSantis. That's all. It's kind of like an NFL team. That's all. Boom, 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 boom. That kind of stuff. That's what we do in this country. So, Sleepy Cap for life. Sleepy Joe has no shot at winning again. I mean, unless the economy like explodes next year and everything going into 2024 is, beautiful and fantastic and all that. There's no way they bring Sleepy Joe back. And I don't think they have anybody in the Democratic side after Sleepy Joe that is interesting, that might even challenge DeSantis. What Democrat, like Newsom in California? Please give me a break, dude. That's not going to happen. So I don't see anybody beating DeSantis, to be quite honest. I don't think so, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm not. I don't agree with a lot of things DeSantis, but I will say this: economically, he'll do better than Joe Biden. He'll run the country better economically. He'll solve the immigration issue. He'll take a hard line approach and close the goddamn border. On the military side, I always trust Republicans over Democrats for military and protecting the country. At least in my 56 years, that's always what I've felt. So that's, you got to, listen, when I vote for a president, I don't agree with a lot of things also with Biden, but I couldn't vote for something evil because that's what was in the office before. We've never voted for anything evil in the office. And so I would vote for a turd over that guy. So I had no choice. You know what I mean? So I think DeSantis is the best of whatever is left for 2024. At least, that's what I think. Kamala, come on, bro. Kamala ain't going to. Come on, man. Oprah, not Kamala. If there's a woman that can get voted into the White House, it's not Kamala. It's Oprah. Give me another. There's got to be another woman that's got a shot outside of Oprah. No, maybe there isn't. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I think I am wrong. I don't think there's another woman. Only Oprah. Oprah would be the only woman that's got a shot at being president. That's it. She's got the juice. She's got, the name. She's got the women. The woman's vote, period, is going to dominate. So, yeah, that would be the only one. That would be on. No, Michelle has no shot. I like Barack the person and Michelle the person. I thought Barack was super overrated as a president. Super nice guy, great, smooth talker, great for, foreign relations, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he killed the deficit, bro. He was twice as bad than Bush. The problem is you people really don't follow what the hell's going on. That's the problem. You just vote somebody in, you really don't know what they're doing and what they're not doing and all that. And, and by the way, to get a little bit more personal with Obama, black unemployment was still way too high. So for a guy that, gets there and you have an opportunity to kind of better, your people too, he didn't do such a good job on that. Again, people leave out the facts. That's the problem here. You don't look. The problem is that most of you, I hate to say it, you're either a Republican or a Democrat, and you're just so biased that you won't look at your own faults on each side of your candidates. That's the problem. You know what I mean? That's all. That's why I killed the butthurt Trumpies, right? When I say, no, I voted for Reagan, but I don't see him embracing hate groups. Yeah, I voted for Bush Sr. and I voted for Bush Jr. the first go around, not the second. I never saw them embrace hate groups. I never saw Clinton embrace hate groups. I never saw Obama. That kills all the Trumpies right away. Kills them all right away. They're all dead on arrival. Because no president has ever done that. Ever. So anyone but that guy. Anyone but that guy. I don't care who you want to bring up. I'll vote for anyone but that guy. So whatever. Yeah. Yeah. People don't do enough research. They don't, Rosendo. They don't. They don't. Not at all. Finding a real president is like the Dolphins finding a QB that can stay healthy or play, John. Remember, we haven't found a quarterback that could play since Marino. We found the guy that could play. Now he can't stay healthy. So remember, John, the caveat is we can't find a quarterback that can play and stay healthy. It's got to be both. Because we found some guys that can stay healthy, but they can't play. I don't want them around. I don't care if they can stay healthy. They can't play. So that's the key, John. Remember that. You got to be able to play and stay healthy. That's our combination. We can't find a real president in this country for decades, and we can't find a real quarterback that can play and stay healthy for decades. So you are correct, sir. We just got to add that extra caveat to that whole thing. Big O, do you think the Finns need to draft a QB this year? Yes. Yeah, if you can. If there's somebody you like in the second or third rounds, that's a decent project. Yeah, definitely. That's what you're going to get. Remember, you're not getting a finished product. You're getting something that has a couple of, holes in the deal. So, yes, I wouldn't mind drafting. Look, I'm a big. You all know, I'm a Tua guy. I ride and die with Tua. I've been convinced from day one that he could play. But unfortunately, I've been convinced from day one that injury history is a real problem with him. And unfortunately, it's been that again. But unfortunately, because of the injury history, and more importantly, with Tua, it's not so much about his injury history. It's his reluctance to take care of himself. That's really the bigger problem with Tua. Let's get this straight now. Okay? Tua has to learn to get rid of the football, and he refuses to do it on a consistent basis. And so while he continues to put himself in a bad position and he doesn't realize, or he refuses to realize his lack of durability, that's the real problem there. So it's not so much that he needs the good luck to stay healthy. He needs to have the discipline to play the game the right way. And so Tua is his own worst enemy. That's the real problem. And because of that, you must plan accordingly. You must try to get somebody way better than Teddy Bridgewater. You must find somebody that practically can be a starter in this league. Okay? And then that person knows that Tua has an injury history, and he will get an opportunity. And if you have a chance to draft another kid, go for it. Tua has created this problem for you now. But at the same time, it could be also a blessing because Skylar might develop into something, or I'll steal Manny Navarro's idea, Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. He got injured and he's out. He's going to be in the draft. He's probably going to drop to the second or third round. He's the kind of quarterback that the league is going to, the athletic quarterback that you're hoping you can turn him into, an accurate guy. And that's something he's got to tweak a little bit, Hendon Hooker. But he's not it's not terrible or anything like that with him. So maybe you can work on it. And because he doesn't come back right away, you get a bargain because he's probably going to drop in the draft. So now you get a guy you can develop. But at the same time, while you have Tua, while you have the veteran, you also have Hooker and Skylar. Yeah, I know it would be 4. But unfortunately, this is what you have to do since you have Tua Tagovailoa on your team and you can't count on him to stay healthy. So for many reasons, it behooves you to go find another quarterback. 2 of them. Draft and even sign a veteran. And I know it'll be a pain in the ass to have that many because it puts limitations on your roster, but maybe you develop something you can trade down the line if Tua actually figures things out. And if he doesn't, you can part ways with Tua at the end of the year, and then you can also start to work on the 2 young guys that you have. And the veteran that's there is also schooling those young guys too at the same time. Because I'm not giving up on Skyler. Skyler's just green as hell. But he deserves playing time. He deserves what's it called? Investment. And so I would love to keep Skyler and try to keep working with him. He's got ability. He can move around. Got to fix the accuracy a little bit. Got to learn to maybe read and react a little faster in the pocket. But these are all things that it's normal for a young quarterback. You know, and on this team, unfortunately, a young quarterback has to do a little more than the average quarterback because this is not one of those things where you have a great offensive line and a dominant running game and a dominant tight end to make your life easy. Your dominance comes on the outside with your wide receivers. And everything else is kind of, you know, a little bit hit and miss. Tough. Not easy to play quarterback in this offense as some people would think. Like, let's say in San Francisco, where you have a stud defense that is going to limit the offense. You have a stud offensive line that is going to give you a beautiful pocket. You got a running back that is dynamic as hell, can run and catch. You got one of the 2 best tight ends in the NFL. And then you've got a pair of wide receivers that are right up there with everybody else. It's a lot easier to game manage in San Francisco than it is in Miami. And so you're asking Skyler to do a little bit more here. Skyler would look way better in San Francisco. He would put up the Purdy numbers in San Francisco. No Henneke. He can go back and sleep at his sister's place again. Taylor Henneke. We remember when Skyler started against Minnesota, he looked pretty good. Let's hope with a week of practice this week he'll be okay for Sunday. And let's hope he can stay healthy. Because all the guys that replace Tua can't even stay healthy. Nobody finishes a game that starts after Tua. That's the screwed up part. So let's hope Skyler can start and finish the damn game. That is huge, man. So glad we spent big bucks for a quality backup QB the last 2 years. Really has worked out well for us. Well, I mean, Gary, you make it sound like you don't spend money. Everybody spends money. If you get a veteran backup QB, you're going to spend $6, $8, $10 million, $12 million for a backup QB. Depends on how good the backup QB is. And I think Bridge is like at 6, but there are people that pay even way more for a backup quarterback. That's changed. You make it sound like that's uncommon. It's very common. You can go look around the league. There are people paying a lot of money for backup quarterbacks. Sometimes you'll get a discount with some guys, sure. But I've seen them pay even more than $6 million for a backup. That happens, man. It's not a big deal. And Fitz did his job for his money. He was fine. The problem with Fitz is those of you that may think he's a starter, but for what he did and what he brought to the table, I think they got more than enough out of him overall. I don't have a problem with Fitz. I think he did a good job. And Teddy, $6 million. It is what it is. You know, unfortunately. RG3 coming out of retirement. There you go. Oh, every job I've had, I am dramatically better in every way after a year. I see the glass half full and know that McDaniel will improve. That's what I'm hoping for. That's why I like McDaniel. I think there's a lot there to build on. He's got to learn, but I'm with you. It's not going to help just keep changing and keep changing and keep changing. We got to give people a little time here to see if they can figure it out. And he did some good things. I'd like to give it another year to figure out and see if he can, take that step forward. I hate Tom Brady. Seeing him here would be really uncomfortable, but I will admit Brady with this offense would be deadly. I just think he's too old and we'd be QB hunting again in 2 years for sure. Listen, with Miami's luck, he'll get injured here. That's what happens. With Miami's luck, he comes here and he has the worst year of his life. Or with Miami's luck, they sign him and Father Time catches up right away. That's what happens. All right, we are out of here. We thank Manny Navarro for joining us. Light show today. Hopefully we'll have Cameron Wolf joining us tomorrow on the program, and we'll have a bunch of guests for you. Also, Inside the Paint will not be at 9 a.m. tomorrow. It will be noon to 1 tomorrow. So we're going to move some things around a little bit. We'll still start at 10 a.m. We'll be back after they're done at 1 with a little bit more. But, yeah, they are both out in the West Coast. So we are moving it to noon. So tomorrow we will start. Normally we start at 8:45 because we, warm up the seat for the guys from 9 to 10. They do the show from 9 to 10, and then I come back at 10. This time I'm going to start at 10 tomorrow morning. We'll go to noon. We'll get Inside the Paint, and then we'll come back and wrap it up with you all, and maybe we'll have an interview or something like that or whatever. It is what it is. But remember, okay, please keep Damar Hamlin in your thoughts, in your prayers. Please look out for each other. Don't look out for Democrats and don't look out for Republicans. Look out for Americans. Okay? Let's help each other. All right? Let's look out for each other. Let's protect each other. Let's love each other. All right? Let's spread good karma. That's what needs to happen in this world. So we can have a better world, especially for our kids, because I feel terrible about what we're leaving our kids. I really do. We're not headed in a good direction. And I don't know if we can change it, but I hope we can try. And so try to spread some love, man. All right? Try to care for your fellow man or woman. All right? Prayers for Damar Hamlin. Thank you all out there for tuning in, for sending in a super chat, reaching out on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show, visiting our sponsors. Appreciate all of you out there. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.